Hypocrisy.
One second. It says it's working. I don't know what it's working on. It might sound really awful. No. There it is. My Roadcaster says it's not on. I mean, it's on. It's working. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Lawsplaining the Interwebs. I am your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. How's it going, guys? How are we today? I hope you're doing really well. I'm doing pretty good. Not that you asked. Rude. But not that you asked, but I'm doing pretty well. Oh, whoa, we got a nice locals drop. I don't even know who from. It's sent anonymously, so a nice little locals drop. They're a one-time supporter, but it's enough that they should get a annual membership. So thank you. That sets the stage. That sets the stage up really nicely. And I mean, not that the stage needs to be set. We're here. We're here for you and mostly me. I hope you guys are having a good day. I really do. All right. It's Thursday. There are indictments all over the place. Well, two. There's two indictments. There's an indictment of the Southern Poverty Law Center, and there's an indictment for James Comey. All right. And both of these are opportunities for gold that we're going to talk about. All right. So the indictment for the Southern Poverty Law Center, we sort of went through with Kurt. I can remind you guys how that went. Give me just a second. We sort of went through that with Kurt a little bit, and which was frustrating. This is exactly how it went. Right? That's how it went right there. That's where we left off. And that's that's all you need to know. Nicola's out here bullying me over this jacket. I like that jacket. Why would I don't want to send it to you. But I might. I'm thinking about it. We'll be in touch, Nicola. We'll be in touch. And you say I never pin your super tip link, and that's true, but it's not because I'm trying to avoid it. It's just because I'm doing other things at the beginning of the stream, like trying to figure out what I'm going to talk about. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, oh God, sorry. I didn't mean to leave that monster up on the screen. I didn't mean to do that. By the way, love you too. The grift is number one. Aside from the Nicola jacket drama, which has now taken over and is the most important issue on the channel. Aside from that got me actually thinking about something. All right. And, you guys will have to help me out with this. It occurs to me that I acquire tons of clothing all the time. It occurs to me because I have just tons of clothing, and some people might really like a particular thing or, like an item. And so I was thinking that not on everything I wear, but I might put up, on various streams, be like, you could buy this shirt for X amount of, like a super, X amount of super chat or whatever. Buy this jacket. I'm not wearing pants, so you can't buy. I'm just kidding. But you get the idea, right? Like some of these clothes are temporary. You know, they're not meant to be held on to. Wear them a couple times, and then move on, make way for new stuff. But I thought maybe I'll do that. That's feminine behavior. My closet is filling up, and I'm not even in there anymore. So, but we'll see. Like, I don't want to sit around and auction it or whatever, but maybe like, you know, I just put up for some stream, it'll be like, if you want to buy parts of this outfit, like, here's how much for each thing. Just let me know. And people can just engage that or not. It would just be there for some things. What if a weirdo buys it and does stuff to it? I mean, you can buy it. It's okay. Like, that's fine. Once it leaves my house or whatever, you can sniff it and do all the weird stuff you want. I'm fine with it. Nicola, that's why I'm thinking about sending you that manly jacket. That's all. So I wear, and this is a very important question. I wear typically medium men's shirts, 15 and a half, sometimes 16-inch neckline. But, and then I prefer 34, 35 sleeves. But I also, like, I roll up my sleeves a lot. So a lot of times I'll just buy whatever size sleeves if the pattern on the shirt's good, because it's going to go under a jacket or get the sleeves rolled up anyway. So I have a lot of 15 and a half and then 32, 33s or whatever for sleeve length. Those are in American sizes. If you're a Brit, I'm sorry, you'll have to convert to centimeters or whatever that you do. Jacket size typically is a 40. I have a couple 38s and a couple 42s that are around. So, you know, but typically a 40 jacket, 40 regular, 40 long, doesn't matter. But, you know, I have a shitload of ties. I have the sunglasses a lot of the sunglasses are pretty expensive to start. So not that I'm opposed, but I don't know that people would want to buy them. So, we'll see. I've been kicking it around, but it's like some things are gonna have to get, like, you know, redonated and stuff like that. Oh, but I also sometimes I go, like, I see a shirt that I like and it might be a large or whatever, and so I'll sometimes buy them anyway because they're, you know, cheap. If they're at Goodwill or something, I'll buy them and see if they fit, and if they don't, like, I just have them. So, like, I have a bunch of large shirts that don't really fit very well, and some of them do. Like, some of them you can kind of just again, if you got a jacket, you can hide a lot, and so you can pull it back and I'll wear them. But some of them, like the neckline's just too big because I'm not large enough. Yeah, VVV Prince says, what's the width of the shoulders? I'm assuming non-existent. Yeah, we have non-Euclidean measurements for the shoulder width. I don't know the shoulder measurement. So when I go and buy a suit, I get a 40. I typically get a slim or athletic Lamau, athletic fit, if those exist, and they don't usually need to be tailored at all. So they're usually just right there. The pants, you know, you got to get your pants hemmed. But yeah, so typically I wear 40 off the rack. Occasionally, depending on the cut, you know, I might get it taken in the midsection. But we'll see. Something to consider. And maybe Lady Raggets would want to do the same. I don't know. We right now though we have large closets and they're currently overflowing. So gotta figure out, some stuff's gotta go. Now, a lot of that's because I still have my old wardrobe in there, a lot of t-shirts and stuff like that I don't really wear. So I'll just box those up. But Sassy J in the UK kicking it off with 10 gifted memberships. Holy crap. Thank you, Sassy J in the UK. You are truly a champion and a patriot. Not 40 inseam. Pant size I wear typically 32, 34 pants. I dress left since you asked. Rude. It's not really rude. I don't care. Yeah. So, yeah, I typically wear 32, 34s and I dress left. Although some dress pants like Express or Calvin Klein or whatever, I'll wear like a 36 inseam because they're like, they bring the inseam up. So. D. What? Consider having Turtle Boy back on as a guest. Yeah, always. Most of my guests are welcome back at any time. I don't reach out and bother them too often because it's not something I'm great at doing. So I want to point this out again. Sassy J in the UK gifting 10 subs. I got to get the banner updated. 10 these bad boys. We have a locals member, and as far as I know, we don't have any Rumble members yet. And this is the last day of the locals promo code where you can get $10 off an annual subscription at locals. So you can get a year for $40 instead of 50. So I've been watching. We were having trouble streaming to Rumble. Is Rumble up? Rumble says it's live. I don't know. We'll see. Appears to be. All right. So the SPLC and the Comey indictments are out. Like I said, we went through the SPLC indictment with Kurt, although he just kind of skipped all the important stuff. Guys, do you realize? So this was 2 days ago. We had a member stream. That in that indictment, it effectively says that the Southern Poverty Law Center may legitimately and literally be responsible for the reestablishment and repopulation and repopularity of the KKK. Like, that's how insane the indictment is, that the Southern Poverty Law Center, in their mission to quote unquote dismantle the KKK, may be responsible for the resurgence of racial animus that pervaded the mid to late 20-teens to the early 2020s. If that doesn't hit you a little bit, that's how serious what they were doing is. And the way they would do that is, this is just what the indictment says. All right. And it's important to remember that the indictment may not be a full accounting of what they found. This is what they believe they can prosecute and prove beyond a reasonable doubt that they could take to before a jury and win. So there could very well be plenty of other funding operations from the Southern Poverty Law Center that they just either didn't feel that they could or didn't want to try to prove. Okay? But if you remember, going into the election of Obama, the racial sort of relations in the United States weren't that bad. They weren't that bad. They were kind of okay. And then all of a sudden, things started to get worse and worse and worse on a racial divide level. And to the point where we had a resurgence of racial violence. We had race riots akin to the 60s. Crazy sauce that this would happen. And now we find out that the Southern Poverty Law Center was funding a grand dragon, at least one grand dragon of the KKK, to the tune of up to $1 million, $100,000 a year. Now, grand dragons run a state. They're in charge of all the activities in a particular state. They're high up in the organization. They're very influential. And depending on which one it is, which who knows, that activity could be greater than or less than some of the others. But they actually funded that. They did it. That person's in charge of recruitment, marketing, promotion, message development, delivering speeches, organizing events and rallies. This is the person that makes it happen. And that's who they were funding. It's not like they were paying the janitor of the KKK to sneak in at night, right, and raid the office, the banker's boxes that are left in the corner. That's not what was going on. They're funding the guy who makes it happen. Unfathomable. Unfathomable. And then we have Kurt come in and be like, well, no, they were just doing their purpose. They weren't. But so in realizing that, I want to point out the impact of just, when they're not just going after the Southern Poverty Law Center like, oh, well, they said things that we don't like. They said things that were, not jiving with the current administration. It's a political attack. No. They did serious damage to our nation. And they did so by doing overtly illegal activity. All right. So that said, we get analysis from Kurt right here. The last thing you see while playing Minesweeper or whatever. So we get analysis from Kurt, and he's just hand waves away. He's like, so what? Nothing wrong. They did nothing wrong. Everything's fine. And it got me curious. So I started looking around, and we got this James Comey indictment. And I'm seeing similar things. I'm seeing similar things to the Southern Poverty Law Center indictment and Kurt's analysis with the James Comey analysis. It's called being incomplete in the analysis. That's what we're looking at. We're looking at people who are just, again, hand waving away very serious things and the realities of a legal system. They're acting like they don't matter. They're acting like the federal government and federal prosecutors go to court after a grand jury indictment over nothing, that they're just pretending. They're like, oh, well, maybe we'll get them, maybe we won't. No. That's not how they operate. When the federal government brings you to trial, they think they can win. Not like a little bit. They think they can win. And you have people like potentially criminal and all sorts of other people just hand waving away this indictment of Comey. They're like, no, it's, overtly a speech issue and blah, blah, blah. Maybe. But what if it isn't? What if it isn't just a speech issue? What if the federal government believes that they have evidence to prove that Comey was actually making a threat against the president for whatever purpose, that is, that's out there, that it was a genuine threat? There could be other things. So I don't know how my colleagues have overlooked this, but there could be other things going on that the federal government has access to, and we haven't seen it yet. And they're just hand waving it away like, oh, no. People throwing around terms like vindictive prosecution or malicious prosecution. They don't actually go into the analysis of how they prove that. It's amazing. It's amazing to see. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then I figure we'll read the manifesto of Cole Allen. That should be fun. And then we'll see what else we get up to. Lots of stuff to talk about. DX Mania has gifted 10 members. Oh my God. Thank you. DX Mania. Very amazing. And not trying to ignore you over on Rumble. I'm getting something from StreamYard saying that the Rumble stream is not great, but then I see that it's got 0 packet loss and everything seems to be fine. So who knows? I'm going to assume it's okay unless you guys tell me otherwise. But we're gonna go ahead and check out the manifesto of Cole Allen. We'll talk about it. It's perfect in the sense that it's another genius, right? A system assessed genius who's out there. Like, he's so smart and he just has everything together. He's an inspiration. He's just the best. And higher education really just loved him and sucked his dick a whole lot. And then all of a sudden he's like, well, I'm going to murder, everybody. That's the plan. He just like, I'm going to do it on the biggest platform possible. And he full sprints. He speed runs through security and tries to kill some people. I don't think he killed anybody though. Okay. So Steve C has asked a question. So I'm working on the Ricada knot. I'm working on inventing a new tie knot. This is not quite it. But it's part of the work in progress. So we'll get there eventually. But it's I had to readjust it a couple times, but it should have more vertical visible. We're working on it. By we, I mean me. I'm just sitting there in the mirror tying ties. Chichunia says, that's so gay. Listen, honey. So what? Okay. All right. SDN over on Rumble says, Nick, as someone who lived in Montgomery, Alabama for 35 years, I'm here to tell you that the SPLC is the biggest unhung bunch of micropeen grifters you will ever see. Yes, I agree fully. And actually, one of the people I want to bring on to talk about the SPLC, and we'll hopefully get him on sometime really, really soon. And it's entirely on me. He's been very open to talking about them, is Ron Coleman. Last time we checked in, Ron Coleman was suing the SPLC on behalf of Gavin McInnes. And the federal judge in that lawsuit, had completely stymied any progress. Just refused to calendar it, refused to issue a ruling on a motion to dismiss or something like that. And he just sat there. Well, finally, that lawsuit is moving again. So we got to check in with Ron Coleman and see how that's going. And I think Ron Coleman will be happy to make some comments on the SPLC. Nick, are you joining Turtle Boy's fundraiser in May? I believe so. That's a Saturday, right? And I think he messaged me and invited me to it. I just have to tell him when I'm available. That's the plan. Chris Bookhammer. Which jokes do I ignore? I gotta see what I ignored. Cynthia says, I missed the live trials. We've done a couple live trials. Believe me, there's the OnlyFans trial was supposed to start at the end of this month. And it ended up getting pushed to June. So we're still looking forward to the OnlyFans trial. And, we'll, there's some other ones that I'm looking for as well. Hey, what's up, Scarlett? Wishing you well as well. Nice to see you. Welcome. Happy to have you here. Chichunia gifting 5 memberships. Thank you so much. So much. Is the ricada lot like the not like the carotene knot? No, I think it's more like the Karen Reed knot. Actually, I think that's a closer analog. That's right. Disgusting scatological puns. That's what you get here. Carmelo Anthony is June 1st. Yeah, I'd be willing to do that. That's a good one. Tyler Robinson's coming up. So we'll see. We'll see. Okay. You want to hear about me leaking? No, not me. No. How dare you? All right. This is going great. We've got 25 members already, which is beautiful. That's a lot. We're almost to a Bonnie Blue Thursday. And we haven't even gotten into the show yet. Oh my God.
If you are contrite, you must indict. Comedy before micropeens. Truth and savagery before smug and stuck up.
Oh, and there's a story out there that I think we need to talk about. And I don't know if we're going to do this tonight or tomorrow, but have you guys seen the JP Morgan sex slave story? Have you guys seen this story? I haven't looked all the way into it because I'm like, this is going to be too funny. I can't just wantonly, have a glance at this. I need to be focused. But it sounds so good. So good. Basically, JP Morgan, manager of some sort, she was allegedly keeping a male sex slave. He was a broker there at JP Morgan. She's like exploiting him, forcing him to take Viagra, making fun of his wife. And so it's a wild story. And of course, I am on her side. I want I'm 100% in her camp on this. Let's see. Kind of shady. 1337 says micropeen. Thank you. Chris Bookhammer says jury is back. Micropeen. So we got those. Some beautiful, beautiful long members there. Fantastic. World Radio 332 says thanks, Obama. Lol. Exactly. Exactly. That N-word. Renegade Shuriken says proving the Dems are still the party of the KKK. I cannot believe the Southern Poverty Law Center suit. Like it's so watching Kurt apologize away everything they did was magnificent. Flightless, don't ruin my day. In my head canon and in that girl's chest cannons, it's real. It's real. It's more real than the Holocaust to me. All right. Let's see. IPAM says, I don't think you talked about the quartering last stream. I did a little bit, but I said, I'm not here to like get into the drama of the quartering, and all that stuff. My thing was like, look, there's some stuff that's going to be true. There's some stuff that's going to be not true. It's going to be hard from the outside to discern what it is. Remember that there are people like involved and it's their lives. I mean, if you want, if you don't want to, I guess I don't really care. But, as someone who has had a mix of truth and fiction, hit some pretty personal issues, I'm not here to jump on that bus and like pick on him and beat the shit out of him or anything like that. I think it's a waste of my time. Other people are better at it. The other thing I said was pretty simple, that the people enforcing these rules of the internet who say like, oh, you can't flag down a channel, etc. They don't live by those rules. They don't abide by them. They don't actually care about them. They're always just a bludgeon. Your morals and convictions are always a bludgeon for someone else who doesn't hold them to use against you. It's the atheist telling the Christian, like, that's not a very Christian thing to do. It's like, fuck you. What do you even care? Jeremy called you a POS no talent. Well, I haven't seen it, so it didn't happen. I don't care though. Like, if he did, like, that'd be okay. I would just get over it. But that being said, when? Like, that sounds funny. Was it otherwise funny? But they don't do this. For example, Joshua Moon, who runs the Kiwi Farms, right? His whole thing is like, oh, you just don't pay attention to stuff about you and it doesn't matter and people need to not respond and lolcows respond. Yet when people try to post a thread about Josh on Kiwi Farms, he moderates it. He watches it. He moderates the content. He bans users. He deletes comments. And he justifies this and says that he's got too many other things to focus on. And if he just let it go, it wouldn't, like, it'd be too distracting. These people don't have, like, there's no conviction. There's no morality. There's no rule. All that's fake. All that's fake and bullshit. You just do what you do. But anyone who says, like, oh, you're done on the internet if you flag someone down. No, you might be done in the sector or like that type of the commentary area and the offshoots of it, like Comicsgate and stuff like that. Maybe you're done in some of those audiences, but most of the internet flags people all the time, constantly flagging channels down. That's why Twitter was the way it was. That's why YouTube is sometimes the way it is. This idea that, oh, you can't flag anybody down. What are you talking about? People do it all the time. But I don't. I don't do that. Here we go. This is fun. I have a sandwich in my pocket that says, yo, take off your glasses, you fucking drunk. No! I'm too busy being intoxicated. You can't stop me. Nah, that's cool. I like, if you want me to take my glasses off, pay me for it. I'll take them off. I'll send you a link to my private OnlyFans. No glasses. That's what we call nose glasses. No, parentheses, SE glasses. That's the name of my secret OnlyFans. I fucking revealed it. I have a sandwich in my pocket that says I'm drunk too. Get it, brother. Get it. Bob Tubed says, how's your B12? I think it's going well lately. I haven't had any issues. I move around okay and stuff. Chuchunia says, I'll subscribe. It's just close-up pictures of my eyes creeping on stuff. That'd be amazing. What a channel. We got to do this. Okay, so we got this one, but again, DX Mania, thank you. Thank you. That brings us to 35 members so far this stream. I think 20 of those are from DX Mania. So fucking cool. Also, setting the bar.
No peen is a safe peen. Shame to the non-penises who don't get it. And Nick, do keep an eye out for Vapo.
I don't know what that is. I don't know what Vapo is. What's your problem with this shirt? Very rude. Okay. What should we do first? Should we do... Well, I guess we talked Southern Poverty Law Center. Let's go to this Comey indictment. Let's just do it. We'll just fucking throw caution at the wind, girls. Let's do it. So if you don't know about James Comey, he was he was in the government or whatever, and then like Trump fired him or something. And he sent out this 8647 tweet, which was interpreted as a threat. But it was the charges were brought by an interim prosecutor, and a judge determined that the interim prosecutor wasn't properly assigned as a U.S. attorney, and therefore the interim prosecutor was unable to bring the charges, and they got dropped. So then Comey sent another one. He posted it again. And now they've charged him. Now they charged him again, but this time from a U.S. attorney, not a interim prosecutor. So we have this new indictment, and there are people out there like potentially furniture, for example, saying, this is going to go nowhere, blah, 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 blah. And maybe it won't. Maybe it will go nowhere. But also maybe it will go somewhere. And we're going to talk about why. Jeff Smith says the SPLC stream had me laughing. 15 months of membership. God damn, that's a big member. Had me laughing all day when I really needed it. So thanks. Your legal analysis is the best on the webs. Has been for 7 years. Hey, thank you. Thank you. And here's why. I agree with you. It is the best. Consistently superior to everything that's ever been done. And here's why, though. It's because, like, I'm not invested in either answer. I don't give a shit what the outcome is. It's like, let's just look at this thing and let's see if it's funny. And the funny stuff is what makes it all go around. Like, because the funny stuff is that's like the clue to what will actually maybe stick. All right, so here we go. I need to grab the actual indictment document. Here it is. Just waiting for it to open up. Story of my life. It's a 3-page indictment. It's really not much. And I don't know if people have any takes on that, but a 3-page indictment is more than sufficient to bring a very serious charge. Like, there aren't a lot of facts to this case. There are not a lot of facts to it. And you don't need a lot of facts for some criminal activity. Like, it just, sometimes there's just not much to it, and people are acting like there needs to be more. It's really strange to me. But let's take a peek. Here we go. All right, so the first thing that's really, really important about this indictment, okay, is to know, because this isn't done willy-nilly. It starts right here. The grand jury charges that. And this is our first clue that this thing is a little bit more serious than is being given any credit by some of my, we'll call them colleagues, but I think really what we need to call them is large. Ms. Farrell says, the chat and I want a neon suit, bright neon. Maybe. I have a Nightmare Before Christmas suit. I have a couple America suits that I got to cover the Afro Man trial, but the trial ended so fast that it didn't matter. So we'll see. They're doing this new thing with suit coats and I'm guessing pants too, but I haven't seen them as much. But there are companies out there, they make these polyester suits and then they print on the polyester. And they're finding out that people don't care as much to have like a woven wool suit or silk or whatever. Does it for some people it's like, is it attractive to the eye? Like, does it catch attention? Like, for me, I don't really care if this suit was just printed on polyester. This isn't. This is Hugo Boss. It's very racist. And it's something. It's probably cotton and wool. But if it was just printed, it wouldn't make a difference to me, right? Like, I'm not I'm not trying to impress with the type of material or whatever. And you're not seeing it in person. How does it look on camera is what matters more. And I have one of these jackets so far, but I've seen some others that are really cool. When they do that, they have the ability to create these amazing like patterns and designs that they couldn't do before. And so, we'll see what we end up finding out soon. Fletcher Boy says Corey Richins' sidebar transcripts were released. Nestor is useless. Yeah, well, we know that. Any cursory review of Nestor. There's a lawyer who keeps emailing me saying, no, Nestor's really good. But it's like, man, I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen it. Okay, so here we go. I got sidetracked. The first thing that's important here, this isn't brought by some vindictive prosecutor, like with an axe to grind against James Comey or anybody else. This is from a grand jury. They presented evidence to a grand jury. The grand jury says they have a finding of probable cause. Finding of probable cause is best described this way. If everything the government says is true and uncontroverted, and there isn't a valid defense, does the government have enough to sustain a conviction? And the grand jury says yes. The grand jury says yes. So that means that the government was able to present to the grand jury sufficient evidence. Now, some of this evidence may be contested, may end up not being admissible. There may be, counter evidence or something like that calls it into question. There could be credibility issues with witnesses. All of that can be true. But at this point, if the government presents the case that they have presented to the grand jury, and the defense effectively were to say nothing, then he gets convicted. And that's a hard thing for people to accept. And it's particular, some of my colleagues, again, on Twitter and on YouTube talking about this, are acting like this didn't happen, are acting like there wasn't a probable cause finding. And sure, they've said that with a grand jury, you can indict a ham sandwich. And that's just giving a nod to how much leeway prosecutors have. But that's because it's just probable cause. We're not beyond a reasonable doubt. We're not getting to that level. We're just finding probable cause, right? And so let me offer one more counterpoint. Do you remember the guy who shot Mike Brown? Hands up, don't shoot guy. I can't remember the officer's name, police officer who shot Mike Brown. They brought that to a grand jury, and the grand jury did not return an indictment. So while it's common to say you can indict a ham sandwich, while it's common to say like finding probable cause is the easiest thing, they don't always do it. They're not always able to get there. And so this is the first thing that you should notice as we're looking into this, and you're seeing people say there's nothing to this, it's going to get thrown out right away, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I'll bring in some big guns on this in a little bit. Kind of like those cannons on the JP Morgan rep's chest. Count one, on or about May 15th, 2025. In the Eastern District of North Carolina, the defendant, James Bryan Comey Jr., did knowingly and willfully make a threat to take the life of and to inflict bodily harm upon the President of the United States, in that he publicly posted a photograph on the internet social media site Instagram, which depicted seashells arranged in a pattern making out 8647. Which a reasonable recipient who is familiar with the circumstances would interpret as a serious expression of an intent to do harm to the President of the United States, in violation of Title 18 USC 871A. Now, this is where things get a little dicier than people are giving credit for. Here is the standard that the government is alleging, and I'm going to take their word for it without having to, I'm not going to sit here and go research all the cases, but which a reasonable recipient who is familiar with the circumstances would interpret as a serious expression of an intent to do harm to the President of the United States. So it's not just a reasonable person, a reasonable recipient or whatever, just someone running around. It's someone who's familiar with the circumstances. They know who Comey is. They know about the relationship between the president and Comey. They know that 86 is sort of a street slang for kill or get rid of or remove, etc. 47 is Donald Trump is the 47th president. They know the circumstances around, not this tweet, I guess, why this Instagram post was made, the political environment in which it's made. They're aware of all these things. And so that is the standard. Now, here's another thing with threats that is being overlooked as far as I can tell in the analysis. You don't have to be able to pull off the threat. You don't have to be able to pull off the threat. The threat doesn't even have to be possible, like in a practical level, right? Someone can go online and threaten to murder someone, and they could be 5,000 miles away, where there's no way they could get to them right now to murder them, right? But if the other person doesn't know that, and the threatener makes the threat with the intent that they will believe that it's going to happen, that's that is the intent section. That's what they have to try to do. Even if the threatener knows they can't pull it off, if they're trying to create that fear or apprehension in the recipient, that is where the crime takes place. Not if they can do it, but what they meant by the post or by the communication. What's this?
So basically, you're saying that the Brits have to figure out their gay unit conversions for your gay clothes. You just need to get shorter and lispier. Then you could be Vic because, well, gay pants.
I wouldn't ever wear those. I wouldn't do that. Let's see. None of us are that retarded. Oh. I am. John Drennan says, I'm not one of the cool kids, but I interpreted that photo as support for killing the president. Does that make it a criminal threat? Don't know. Again, it's not about whether you interpreted it that way. It's about what Comey intended the message to do. If Comey intended that message to say that someone should kill the president of the United States, or that he intended to, or he was trying to inspire someone to do it, that could be enough. The thing is, again, the thing is, would a reasonable recipient familiar with that figure out what he was saying? Would they understand? All right, so here we go. Count 2. On or about May 15th in the Eastern District of North Carolina, the defendant, Comey, knowingly and willfully did transmit in interstate and foreign commerce a communication that contained a threat to kill the president, Donald J. Trump. Specifically, by publicly posting a photograph on the internet social media site Instagram, which depicted seashells arranged in a pattern making out 8647, which a reasonable recipient who is familiar with the circumstances would interpret as a serious expression of an intent to do harm to President Trump, in violation of Title 18 U.S.C. Section 875C. Now, some of you out there may be tempted to say, but wait, this is an overtly free speech issue. And I'm akin to agree with you. However, one of the very few definitely unprotected types of speech, according to the Supreme Court, is a true threat. And it's not because of the words. It's because of what a true threat is. A true threat is an action that's intended to convey this threatening message, intended to produce a certain result in a recipient. That is it. It's the action around the threat that makes the threatening language, not just automatically protected speech. Again, the words are essentially protected because it's the circumstances of the conveyance that matter. Arranging seashells into 8647 isn't a big deal. If you or I do it, like it's not a big deal at all. But because of the circumstances of Comey doing it, they're suggesting that is the communication of the threat coming from him. Coming from someone else, it wouldn't be the same thing. Gen X Medic says Kurt always skips the important things like bathing, proper cooking techniques, or the age of consent. Micropene. It's true. It seems to be an oversight, a blind spot for him. Naval Brick Company says super random, but from your video the other day when Kurt said DIA, it was in reference to the Defense Intelligence Agency. I was stationed on the same base as them. You know what? Someone else brought that up, and I don't know how I'm supposed to keep up with these new agencies. The Defense Intelligence Agency has only been around for 61 years, and I don't have time. I don't have time to follow all these updates. So, you know what? Thanks for letting me know. But it seems kind of like you're gaslighting me right now, and I don't tolerate that around here. That doesn't work on me. So, but thanks. It was really nice of you to participate and let me know. I also brought that up. I brought it up repeatedly. I wasn't reading. I was busy. I was busy ranting. JB from Texas says, this clearly wasn't a true threat or direct incitement to violence. See, you're using a word in there. You're using a word in there that's frustrating because you said clearly. It might seem clearly not a threat, but what if there's a text thread or something between Comey and someone else saying, I want to kill that motherfucker. I wish he was dead. Hope he dies, like right around the same time. Then it's not as clear, right? It's not as clear if he's trying to communicate that or not. So again, it's really easy to add an adjective or adverb like clearly. It's simple to say that, but it's not always as clear. So forfeiture notice is hereby given that all right, title, and interest in the property described herein is subject to forfeiture. And this is some clues. Upon conviction of any offense charged herein constituting specified unlawful activity or conspiracy to commit such offense, the defendant shall forfeit to the United States, pursuant to 18 U.S.C. 981 A1C, any property, real or personal, which constitutes or is derived from proceeds traceable to the said offense. Here we have a clue also. Here we have another clue that is maybe being overlooked, maybe not. Like I haven't done a full review of every, all the literature because I find most of these people to be embarrassing. I can't read what they say. I can't watch their videos. He had a book coming out. Look at that. V thinks ahead of the game. He had a book coming out. Making a threat to the president. Drumming up this drama and discussion and talk at the same time that his book's about to drop. Suddenly there's a monetary incentive attached to it. And this forfeiture notice is our clue that the government seems to think that there's a monetary incentive involved in this on the indictment. Jim Tells You has raided the stream. Oh my goodness. Oh my word. Oh my word. And then VSync points out another thing. Not only that, his book is, from what I hear, all about sending covert death threats. So in addition to his Instagram post of the 8647, in addition to that, he also made a post, I think on the same day, very close in time, temporally relative to that post. And it was a section of a book, of his book, I believe. And that section is specifically, like the excerpt is about sending coded messages, about using coded messages and sending them. So now we've got another little piece of the puzzle has fallen into place as far as, okay, you know, if this is just posted in the void, in a vacuum, it doesn't mean anything at all. But the government has a series of things that seem to indicate that Comey might be actually trying to deliver a message here. And again, if Comey has a text message or something like that where he says, yeah, I hope he fucking sees it. I hope he shakes. I hope he thinks I can get him or whatever. Like, I'm just here chilling on the beach. I can't do anything, but I hope he pisses his pants a little. You know, anything like that. Mate, you're probably fucked, right? Like, that goes to the intent that he's trying to convey the threat. Wait a minute. He was trying to be smug and clever and dance around the rules Rekieta style, and it worked as well as it did for Nick. Hey, what is this? Why am I always catching heat for what other people do? Always. My goodness. Anyways, welcome to the Raiders from Jim Tells You. And since you're here and you're now our prisoner, we're going to need you to go ahead and click that like button. We're going to need you to do that. Going to need that to happen. So make it happen. I don't know how you're going to do it, but let's do that. You double rated me. The last time that happened, I couldn't walk for 2 days. How did you double rate? Like what was that? You rated me on YouTube also? Let's see. Espresso D says, would it be protected if Comey's intention was to ramp up the likelihood of stochastic violence? Again, typically threats are, the intent of the threat is for, to raise fear or apprehension from the threatener to the threatened, right? But also, there's the realization that part of the reason that making these public threats, especially against a president, becomes something that they watch for and is treated seriously is because there might be someone also who picks up on that threat or sees it as a dog whistle and goes Cole Allen on the place. All right, so here we go. If any of the above described forfeitable property as a result of any act or omission of a defendant cannot be located upon the exercise of due diligence, has been transferred or sold to or deposited with a third party, has been placed beyond the jurisdiction of the court, has been substantially diminished in value, or has been commingled with other property which cannot be divided without difficulty, it is the intent of the United States, pursuant to Title 21 U.S.C. Section 853P, to seek forfeiture of any other property of said defendant up to the value of the forfeitable property described above. So if Comey took the proceeds of the book and bought a house or, put it into some sort of trust or business or invested it, whatever he did, the government will go after other stuff that he owns consummate to the value. So they're supposed to only track down the specific funds and literally trace them out, or the specific property, literally trace that out. But if they can't get it, there's a law that allows them to pick up the value from elsewhere. If he has a classic car collection or something like that, some way for them to grab that. And that's it. That's it. Not much to this text. Count one, count two. He posted this thing, and he did so with the intent that it would cause harm. That's all that they need to put on the indictment. They don't need to, tip their hand on all the evidence. That stuff's going to come in later. Now, of course, if you're like me, you may have seen some other law tubers and stuff say something about it. Should we see if there is? I don't know. Let's see. Let's see what we got. Wow. Oh no. Oh no. There's a whole video by Kurt. It's an hour and 43 minutes long. It's him. It's Kurt and Nate. Oh boy. We might have to take a peek at that. I don't know if I want to do all of that content. That's a lot of content, right? I don't know if we want to do that. Let's see if we have someone else. We Hear Well says, isn't it supposed to be an imminent threat? Okay, so true threats, it depends on, again, it depends on the threat. Incitement needs to be imminent and imminently possible. So if you're trying, that's Brandenburg versus Ohio, right? Incitement, they found that there was no incitement to violence because there weren't any black people or Jews to kill at the time. So the crowd couldn't be riled up to kill black people and Jews, is what the Supreme Court said in 1954. Take that for what you mean it for. With a threat, the threat is yet to put them in fear, apprehension of imminent death or bodily harm. It doesn't. How do I word this? Because it's going to sound weird. It's going to sound weird. The threat doesn't necessarily have to come from the person, right? It could be like Comey has a lot of connections. Comey could be intending, this is a hypothetical, I'm making this up, but Comey could have intended to post a dog whistle to a sleeper agent that's close to the president, right? Or he could want the president to believe that. Comey could want the president to believe that when he posts on Instagram 8647, it's code for someone on the inside to take action now. So even though Comey might not be doing it, the threat of Comey instigating, not inciting, instigating or initiating a series of events that would cause harm to the president, if he is intending to communicate that threat to the president, then that's a crime too. Just because Comey isn't going to be the trigger man or whatever doesn't mean that he's not conveying a threat. And so that's where you run into this. And that's different from incitement. Incitement isn't about whether or not you're scaring someone. A threat is scaring someone. Incitement is about whether you are creating a situation where real danger is about to occur based on that situation. Does that make sense? I hope so. Those are the differences in the two. And what is this? What is this? Is Joe talking to me? You talking to me? He said, good logic, who I think must have rated the show as well. What is up, Joe? I love you, brother. Hope you're doing well. He says, hey, you slick bastard. Where you been? Mostly here. Also at home. It's end of the school year, man. It's busy. It is busy. Okay, let's check out. We got to see if Potentially Furniture has talked about this. I saw him talk about it on Twitter. Oh, hey, what do we got here? What do we got here? We can bring a little Joe into the stream. I'm good with that. I'm good with bringing Joe in. Let me send him the link right now. Joe, I'm going to send this to you on Twitter in just a second once I get my shit together. Here you go, man. Join on up like the military. Pop on in. Let's get it dirty. We're talking indictments. We're talking, loathable people. All right. So let's see. I'm going to see if Sean's commented on this. Let's see. No, he doesn't seem to have a Comey video up. He just was tweeting about it. So that should be That should be fun. Ugh, that's good. I didn't really. It's like, oh, has so and so talked about this? Like, well, if they have, I don't want to talk. I don't want to be exposed to that. Now we're waiting for Joe. Now the show is on hold for Joe Neerman.
Finally, we get Joe on the show, the most base Jew on the internet.
I always like talking to Joe, man. I haven't done it a lot since coming back, and it's not. It has nothing to do with Joe. Love him very much. It's just been me trying to make sure that I've got my stuff together before I'm inviting people, and because with some of my consistency issues, I haven't wanted to like invite people and then have to cancel on them and stuff like that. But we're working on it. Brian Oldenkamp, 10 more gifted memberships. Oh my goodness. Those are some beautiful members. I hope all of you, whether you want to or not, get touched by Brian's wonderful gift of member, and make sure you give him a little thank you. We are pro non-consensual member gifting and touching here. Speaking of that, what's up, Joe?
Yo.
How you doing, brother?
I'm hearing myself echo.
Oh, hold on, I'll fix it. My bad. I did that wrong. Hold on. Okay, that should fix it.
You new to this, I got it.
Yeah. I don't know how to do this anymore. How you doing, man?
Thank God, I'm excellent. How are you doing?
Pretty well.
You're looking good.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. I'm attempting to create a new tie knot.
Oh, okay. How's that going for you?
It's okay. I have my first foray into it today. Like, I don't know how you like invent a tie knot, but like you can. And like the one I'm wearing right now, no one else has ever worn it. That's not necessarily a good thing, right? Like there are reasons probably for it, but no, we'll see. I'm like learning about how the different things that you do create different patterns on the tie, and so then it's like, oh, okay, well I can come up with something new. Then that'll be fun. We'll call it the Ricada knot.
Yeah, and that's what it should be called. It shall forever be known as. You need to be able to show people how to do it. See, I saw the title of your stream tonight, and I was like, Comey Indictment, I'm good there. Recapping SPLC, I'm good there. Manifestos, I'm literally writing a manifesto.
Well, I'm talking about Cole Allen's different manifesto.
Well, he inspired me to write my own manifesto, because I was like, when do they write the manifesto? You decide, it's like something sets you off, and now you got to go. You got to be ready to go. And I was like, what happens if something occurs in my life
and you don't have a manifesto ready?
What am I going to do? So I need to actually have my manifesto ready to go. So
I'm
this
with
way,
it.
So I had a couple of streams this week where I was like adding more and more pages to my manifesto. So far I have like 5 or 6 pages of manifesto worked out. And yeah, I think by the time it's done, it should be roughly, I don't know, 30, 40, maybe 600 pages.
You're just going for a mid-length one. I like that. Not too ambitious.
Where I'm spelling out all the things that are wrong with you, the world. Not you individually. No, you, the plural you, the world. And why it is that the events that unfolded, which led to me doing whatever it is that has people talking about me, why that was ultimately inevitable. So
no, I like this idea a lot. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
I can't wait to cover this in the future.
Yeah, I cover the Jews. I cover Barack Obama. I cover Swifties. I'm all over the place. It's like in pure manifesto form. You know, I'm not just like writing. I'm not writing a book.
You got to get everything out. Like you can't, if you miss something, this is your one shot. Like it's like Eminem, right?
Yeah, and I make sure when I'm writing it with AI, and I make sure that when I'm doing it, like, you know, I interrupt whatever I'm talking about just to start screaming about something completely random, just so that it has that perfect manifesto vibe to it. So yeah, the manifesto is is my newest art form, and I'm very, very much enjoy working on it.
So, it's been a while since I revolutionized live streaming, but I have done it again. Are you aware of this?
No, tell me.
You may be interested in adopting this, and I will help you if you need it. Just a second. I think you'll understand with me. You're one of the few people who can, but we do have a nose cam.
Oh my God.
Yep, we have a nose cam.
I feel as if you're about to snort me.
Stranger things have happened.
Wait, you stole this from me from my first perm stream when I ended up coming in accidentally twice.
Look, coming in twice is never an accident, and you know it. Speaking of that, big welcome.
But when you do it this way, you need to mute yourself because I hear you like reverb.
I fixed it. It. Big welcome to MG Law and the MG Law raid. Welcome, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us here. We won't have that on screen the whole time, but might bring it up from time to time when it's appropriate.
Right.
So we'll get into some of these things. I just went through the Comey indictment. It's really short, obviously. Mm-hmm. And so what happened was this. I decided to watch Kurt's video on the Southern Poverty Law Center yesterday, where he says the Southern Poverty Law Center did nothing wrong. Uh-huh. It is one of the worst analyses I've ever seen. Like it's crazy. He
says the Southern Poverty Law Center did nothing wrong.
Correct. He says that there's no criminal act there. So when he's going through, and when I say it's one of the worst analyses ever, I know, like, I make fun of Kurt's cooking videos. I make fun of Kurt, and I think it's the funniest thing. But, like, this isn't that. This was a serious look at his analysis. And his analysis, every time in the indictment that they got to what the Southern Poverty Law Center actually did, he would... Did you see that episode of Seinfeld when they did the yada, yada, yada? And it's like, you just yada, 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 the best part, right?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
It's like yada, yada, yada. He would do that every time. Like when he got to when they're describing the wire fraud, he's like, and then some stuff nobody cares, and then he'd skip it. It's like, that, Kurt, that's the most important part.
Right.
Like, what are you doing? It is embarrassing. And then I started going, like, looking on X, and not at him, but some other people talking about the Comey indictment as if there's no possible way that the government could sustain this action against Comey, that it's all just BS and it's vindictive and malicious. And it's like, well, wait a minute. Like, that's not how federal prosecutions tend to work. Like they don't go to bat unless they're pretty damn sure that they can do it. Because otherwise it's really embarrassing to the United States government and the Department of Justice, huge waste of resources to bring these actions only to have it be dismissed out. Right. And I think people are really overlooking stuff. So,
well, I mean, I covered both of these on my channel already. So I'll tell you that my take from looking at them is the SPLC indictment is much stronger than the Comey indictment. I was very skeptical of the Comey indictment at first, but I'm coming around that there's a potentially viable claim there, but I don't think they're ultimately going to be successful. It's not like I think that the jurisdiction is not particularly favorable to them. I think that's, it's not the sort of sexy thing. And
wasn't he on a beach in North Carolina when he wrote the tweets though?
He's indicted in North Carolina.
So then the jurisdiction isn't an issue.
I don't know that it's as North Carolina is more purple than I think we tend to appreciate.
Well, but like, I'm talking from a legal perspective. He's in North Carolina. He makes a post on the internet. That's federal. That's Eastern District of North Carolina. Federal court has jurisdiction over him at that point.
Yeah, no, I think that
whether or not it's the right place to bring it, whether or not, whether or not it's a favorable venue for the government, that's a different question for sure.
There's a lot of reasons I don't love the Comey indictment. I want to see him be taken down for Operation Crossfire Hurricane and the whole Russia hoax. And I want him taken down to go with Brennan and Clapper and Barack. I mean, I think that all four of them basically were conspiring and had an ongoing conspiracy that was continuing for years with respect to the cover up that conspiracy. And I feel as if this is trying to throw MAGA a bone. And that's why they're like, all right, leave us alone on that. That's how it comes across to me. I hope I'm wrong.
So here's my mild disagreement. You very well could be 100% right. So when I'm disagreeing with you here, it's not like I have a principled and I'm like, you're wrong. It's just so going through the indictment, there's a big clue in there as to why I think they have validity. And I agree with what you said. Like, I want to see him go down for this stuff, but we're in statute of limitations time, baby. Like they're just not going to be able to land those those criminal charges against him for some of that stuff. There's some things that might have exemptions to the statute of limit, or might have no statute of limitations on them. I haven't gone through all of it. The conspiracy,
it's an ongoing conspiracy where they're continually lying about it. Every time they get up and lie publicly about it, I think they're reawakening the statute of limitations for another 5 years. And anyone in the conspiracy who does it ties in the entire conspiracy. So in that sense, I agree with you that most statute of limitations are 5 years, and all the stuff that happened at the end of 2016 on its face would for the underlying charge would be beyond the statute of limitations. But I think that the conspiracy angle, a conspiracy to commit RICO. I mean, I think that we can definitely see a case going on here. But okay, go ahead with your. I didn't mean to cut you off.
You're good. KBT Times says there's a BS case on Comey. There are more nasty things he's done. And I agree there are more nasty things he's done, but that doesn't make the existing case BS. If they don't believe they can convict him on the more nasty things, they can't bring the case. And then Tuxter says, I wonder why they didn't charge Comey with incitement instead. And if you go back and watch my walkthrough of the indictment, incitement would fail. Incitement would be really hard to do because there's no imminence going on at all. They have to treat it as a threat if they've got it. Now, the big clue for me though comes in the last page or the second page of the indictment, and the lower half of it, where it says about the forfeiture of any ill-gotten gains that resulted from the criminal act. That indicates that they believe that the motivation or impetus for conveying the threat had a financial motive, and that financial motive, of course, is Comey's book. Mm-hmm. Which he tweeted about or posted on Instagram right after the 8647. He posted a section about sending coded messages and stuff like that. So one thing, you have evidence that he may have been attempting to convey a threat with that second post. The other thing is, if it's a book promotion and he's looking to convey a threat, raise up drama for the purposes of making the president feel apprehension of fear or whatever, but also the purpose of making money, the government now has a motive for why he's conveyed that threat. Even if he doesn't actually intend to kill the president, he can still convey the threat and put Trump in apprehension or fear. That's where this sort of comes in, and why this case is a little bit more complicated. And
I want to ask you a question that I don't know the answer to. I don't know if you do. It's a legal question I have for you. Is it a subjective test as to whether or not Trump personally felt afraid because of the particular posts?
I don't think so. Because admittedly, I haven't read up on it in a bit, so I'm not positive. I'll try and find the answer and message you with it when I do. But my understanding is that the criminal act occurs with the intent to convey the threat that a reasonable recipient, and they have this very interesting line in here that I think brings things a little closer to home. It's a reasonable recipient who is familiar with the circumstances would interpret as a serious expression of an intent to do harm to the president of the United States. So it's not subjective, it's an objective standard. Would a reasonable person be able to be threatened, and was a threat intended? Those are the two things they have to prove, not whether or not the president felt that threat or not.
I'll play defense counsel for Comey, even though I can't stand that joke.
Sure.
Okay. So even if he felt threatened, that threat was not from Comey individually. Whatever level of threat he felt, and in fact, in one of the follow-up questions, a reporter asked him, I think just today, about whether he felt threatened, and I was like, oh, this could really help his defense if he comes out there and says I didn't feel threatened. And he responded something like, well, there's always some crazies out there. And if in fact his fear was exclusively not at all that James Comey would carry out, but that someone would be incited by his post into carrying it out. So in that case, now we're merging incitement, which is a Brandenburg standard. And
I'm gonna challenge this because I have the answer to this, and I went through it a little bit before the raid. But go ahead and finish up.
Right. So what I would say is, if his fear is that someone else would carry it out as a result of Comey sending this message out there, so this is not that he's threatening. I'm going to threaten you. I'm doing something. I'm threatening you that something is coming, and it's not me. It's someone else. Okay.
So two things. One. It's not incitement, and I'll tell you why.
No, I know it's not incitement.
But I mean, it's not, incitement is the wrong framework to even look at it. So it's still a threat from Comey, and I'll explain in just a minute. And part of that is to know that the threatener in a true threat is not required to be able to carry out the threat. That is not a requirement. So like if I call you right now and say, I'm going to show up at your house,
in 10
motherfucker, in 10 minutes and murder you, and I'm intending for you to receive that as a threat, it doesn't matter that I can't get there in 10 minutes. Like, under no physical reality can I do that. I know that, but you may not. And so my intent to convey the threat is all that matters. The reason it's not incitement is Trump saying, you never know who's out there. It could be a crazy, they're very crazy people. I've seen some of these Democrats. But so of course, that's a possibility. But James Comey was high up in the federal government and has connections that are close to the president, right? Undoubtedly, James Comey knows people who are in the building with him. Right. And if James Comey's intent was for Trump to see that message and believe that it was maybe an activation call for someone who's close to the president, it doesn't matter that James Comey isn't the one who's going to remove the president or cause him harm. He could have someone who's waiting for a signal, and that could be the signal. And if that's what he's trying to convey, if that's his intent, and again, it doesn't matter if he's actually got someone, it doesn't matter if someone could pull it off, and it doesn't have to be Comey. The threat, It doesn't have to be Comey causing harm. It's anybody causing harm. So now, and that's different from incitement, because incitement is about, juicing up a random person or juicing up the crowd to do something now. This is a threat to induce an action that is like, premeditated, planned, put into place a thing, not find a random person who will take it the wrong way.
I think that's the response. I think that's a strong legal response what you're giving me here.
Now, what they need to do, of course, to do this is they need text messages or testimony of conversation with Comey that brings this stuff out, right? Like, they need someone who says, yeah, I was talking to Comey, and he's like, God, I hope Trump saw that and pissed his pants, or like, Trump knows I got people around him, and that asshole could really use to just be taken down a little bit, anything like that. And he's done. Like, he's done immediately if there's any direct conversation that Comey has said, yeah, Trump could just use a little dose of his own medicine, or I hope he's scared that someone will do something, or if he thinks I can't do something, he's got something else coming, anything like that. And he's cooked, man. Like, that's over.
That's true. And they did spend 11 months. So you would think that they did some digging to try and support this claim, but they didn't mention anything of the kind in the indictment.
Well, the indictment doesn't really need to.
No, I understand, but I'm just saying.
But the other trick, or the other clue, in my opinion, about this is right here. I'll bring it up.
You would think if there was a smoking gun that it would be in the indictment, wouldn't you?
The grand jury charges that. That means that they brought this to a grand jury, right? Like, they brought this to a grand jury, and a grand jury says, okay, if what you presented us is uncontroverted and there's no defense for it, we have a crime. And so it's not like it's not like a rogue assistant U.S. attorney wrote up this indictment and brought it, right? Like this went to a grand jury. We have to assume that there was some evidence presented that fulfill the elements of this. And one of those elements is intent. So they have evidence of intent to carry, like, unless we can always assume that a grand jury just decided to indict, and sometimes they do, but like, I think that's a misconception about how grand juries actually work most of the time. But this is a rare case, right? Like, this isn't most of the time. This is a pretty, there are major political ramifications going on and factors in it. So it's hard to say, but the thing that's blowing me away is watching some of our colleagues just like hand wave it away with no analysis and no sort of expression or counter argument. Like, at least you've got some of these, you've got some things they're saying, okay, I have problems with it here, here, and here. But I was on X the other day, and do you follow Shipwrecked Crew?
Sometimes.
I
do follow him. I don't read his posts religiously though.
So he was really good on the ICE stuff. And then he's been talking a lot about this. And one of the things he said that really caught my attention was he was talking about charging standards at the DOJ. And the other thing was just about, like, we have no idea what evidence they might have of this. But the people just pretending that it's just going to go away. No one has presented a legal theory as to why this case will get dismissed.
Right.
People are just saying, oh, this is going to get dismissed. Like Sean said, this won't make it to Labor Day. It's like, well, I mean, we're not talking about your circulatory system, Sean. We're talking about a federal indictment. Like, it might make it to Labor Day. We don't know. You have no idea. And the thing is, what motion are you bringing to remove this federal indictment before Labor Day? Like, what motion is happening? What is the legal standard by which you think that's going to occur? I've seen people talk about vindictive prosecution, and Shipwreck Crew has been just hammering those out pretty well. He's like, all of the things you're citing happen after the indictment, which means they can't be considered for the prosecution itself.
Right.
Like Trump statements and stuff like that. And the other problem he pointed out with a vindictive prosecution is that the original prosecution was brought. It was found to be improper, right? Like an improper attorney. So it was dismissed out. But then all of the stuff that led up to that prosecution, that's done. And so then it kind of resets the clock on the vindictive prosecution standard, apparently, according to him. I tend to trust him because he was a
defense attorney for.
No, he was a prosecutor for a couple decades, federal prosecutor. And so it's like, he's walked the walk on these cases. If he's saying, hey, like, maybe pump the brakes on saying this is a nothing indictment, you have no legal analysis showing why it is, then that's when I go, I'm going to listen to this guy a little bit. I'm going to listen. And I started thinking about it, and I'm like, no, there's plenty of ways that this could be a threat, but I don't know if it is. And you know me, like, I think you should be able to do a little threatening here and there. Especially if it's like, consequently, especially if it's the president, right?
Well, that was the question I was about to ask you. Do you agree with the yardstick that we have a stricter protection for the president in this regard?
No, I think political figures should have lesser protection, right? Like, as far as something like this, because someone can say, like, man, I hate the president, and I think he should be, like, I've said I think all politicians should be hung from lampposts, for example, right? Like, I still believe that they should have term limits, and at the end of their terms, they should be required to kill themselves. Like, I think that's a good policy. But no, like, I don't want anyone to mistake that as a threat, and I should be able to say those things. The First Amendment protects those things kind of specifically. But there is a point where just because someone is a political figure or famous doesn't mean that they should be subject to an actual threat, right? Like, an actual threat can be terrifying.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, and that's the whole purpose of them. That's why they exist. So
I think the Southern Poverty Law Center one. Have you started covering that?
yeah. So the main thing I did was, again, go through it with Kurt's video 2 days ago, and two things happened. One, I didn't realize how bad Kurt's analysis was going to be. Like when the title of the video was "They did nothing wrong," I thought it was going to be kind of cheeky, and he might be kind of sarcastic. He wasn't. He full on thought that they did nothing wrong. The next thing that happened was I was absolutely shocked by just how insane their actions are.
Yeah.
$1 million to a Grand Dragon of the KKK. That's crazy town. Like that's, and
but it's not really, if you consider it, if you look at, ignore the legality of it and you look at the business venture, that is the best $1 million ever spent. That $1 million netted them $80 million.
Oh yeah, yes. For the completely unlawful purpose. Yeah, it was great. It did it just right.
Yeah.
But I couldn't believe, how they, so I've sat on the boards of several charitable organizations, and I used to help people become 501c3 companies. That was part of my transactional business that I did. So I'm relatively familiar with that area of law, at least as it was, about 8 or 9 years ago. And so like, when they started talking about, they use these shell companies, and it's like, wait a minute, you can't give money to a shell company as a 501c3 unless it's a 501c3. You can't just give money to some other organization or person. And then they were talking about paying these informants. It's like, you can't do that with donor funds. You could put them on staff. You could 1099 them maybe, but you can't. What they were doing was buying these gift cards, right? And they were handing out gift cards to these people, like Visa gift cards. And you have to imagine that they were intentionally staying below the currency transaction report limit or the suspicious activity report limit. So probably like $1,000 to $2,000 gift cards that they're handing out every time these people do stuff. And it's like, this is insane. You can't do this with donor money. It's so illegal.
Yeah.
And it's obviously so.
And there was a lot of thought that went into making sure they're going to nail the SPLC. And I think, I'm curious to see which individuals ultimately get named as part of the SPLC. But they went really, they were very, very sharp and how you did it. When you look at the charges for like the wire fraud and you see what they have, at first blush, I looked at it and I was like, there's $3 million total that they spent, and you're telling me that they're charging $13,000 total. And then I realized, no, those are the wire transfers that happen in Alabama. And they specifically seem to want Alabama because I think they figure Alabama is a state where you're likely to be able to pack a jury with a lot of folks who really don't like the SPLC.
Yeah, I would think so.
So I think that was, the jurisdiction is ideal. And I think that they basically figured, look, let's hit them. Even if we might have 40 coming out of a different jurisdiction, let's go after them in Alabama where we have these 11 charges and just hit them for charge by charge in front of a jury that's going to be looking to hang the SPLC for this outrageous conduct. And their conduct is utterly, utterly outrageous. The notion, think if you're a contributor to the SPLC, think of how you would feel if, in fact, you said that your dollars ended up in the pocket of the Grand Dragon of the KKK. You're sitting there and you're like, are you effing kidding me?
So that was another thing about, again, and I'm not trying to pick on Kurt here. I was trying to pick on Kurt 2 days ago. Absolutely. I'm not trying to pick on him here. Watching him not get it was wild. He's like, yeah, so he's a undercover paid informant. It's like, no. This is the guy who organizes all of the events for the state of Alabama, all of it. He's the guy who's in charge of recruitment. And you mentioned that everything that is in the indictment is confined to Alabama, and that's probably got a lot of jurisdictional issues with it. They don't want to try and bring in other crimes and run into, do we have sufficient jurisdiction over this person, et cetera. So it's just the Alabama stuff, which means that there could be as many as 49 similar cases, right, that are out there, that those might exist. But the thing that was blowing me away was like, Kurt didn't realize what level of person this is. It's not like a janitor or like a low level guy. This is the guy who's in charge of recruitment. Giving him $1 million to do speeches, $100,000 a year, essentially, to go out and do speeches, to promote the KKK, to recruit people to the KKK. I brought this up at the beginning of the stream. You know, going into Obama's election, we were at a different place with racial disparity in this country than we are today. We seemed to be closer to racial parity. Things were kind of calm. And then things started to destabilize. And by the time the 2012 election rolls around, things are really kind of messy racially. And then they didn't get better. They proceeded to get worse. And now we're looking at this indictment that says from the years 2013 or 2014 to 2023, that the SPLC has been funding the high up guys in the guys who recruit people and promote this racial divide. They've been funding them for a decade, the decade that racial violence started to rise again after going down forever. The decade that we saw the Summer of Love in 2020, right, with which I mentioned was reflective of like the 1968 riots that we saw with I think the Watts riots, they were called, but we saw racial violence back in the late 60s and then parallels in 2020. And it's like, you guys, they've been funding this, and it's a very real possibility that without the SPLC trying to dismantle the KKK by giving their one of their head guys $1 million, it's very possible that they actually created this racial divide and exacerbated the problem in real ways over the past decade.
I have a lot of thoughts on this. I think that Barack Obama, and when he was running, the whole promise is if we elect a black president, that tells us that racism is done in this country. Right. We're through here with racism. And the way he ran his campaign and the way he laced his speeches was surgical. His method of speaking is the precise opposite of Trump. Trump is a very blunt instrument. He's got a club and he wields it and he swings it around at anyone he dislikes. In stark contrast, Obama is a surgeon. He would never say you're racist. He doesn't say the other side is racist. He just leaves his cult sheep-like followers to conclude nothing else is possible other than that they're racist, and that's why they're opposing him. So he'll just say, oh, some folks, they're not really comfortable with, someone who doesn't look like they're on money. And, that's just...
No, we're not comfortable with mom jeans wearing bicycle riders, you queer.
Right. But he would portray everything as if any obstruction to him was rooted in a deep-seated racism. Any obstruction on immigration is because, some folks are brown, they have darker skin. But we need to remember that America was founded on immigration. And his followers who looked at him like he was practically messianic. So they basically come to the conclusion that the only reason that anyone's opposing him is because they're genuinely evil people. And that's why coming into the 2016 election, when Hillary Clinton is talking to her audience and saying that she knows that there's a large percentage of people who are never going to vote for her, the racist, misogynist, and the basket of deplorables thing that she throws out there talking to her own audience, she knows that they've been primed for the last 8 years to change their perspective into thinking that half the country or virtually half the country is racist. Like, they genuinely are just born racist. They can't help being racist. They just don't feel comfortable around black people or brown people or whatever. So that's the climate, and that she runs her whole campaign on he's a racist, he's a racist, he's a racist. The timing of the Unite the Right rally, which is what the SPLC over here was funding. Think about the timing. It's 2017. Because the whole lie that they were saying about you, me, and everyone on the right is that we're motivated by racism. And once Trump comes in, racism is going to be skyrocketing. Well, if you're someone who's fighting racism, what happens if, in fact, there's no signs of it skyrocketing? In that case, your entire narrative collapses. You need this Unite the Right rally desperately, Because if after you've been pitching and your candidate has been pitching that, hey, once he comes in there, we're going to see racism skyrocketing, and then there's just a nothing. In that case, you're basically, people are starting to question everything about what they're believing and what they've been hearing. So instead, what do? You actually create what's, one of the most, frightening looking experiences with the Charlottesville rally to basically be able to pin up there and plaster everywhere. Oh my God, they're marching with their tiki torches, screaming, Jews will not defeat us, and all these crazy chants that they're throwing out there, looking like they're marching straight from 1939 into your living room. That's what the entire imagery there looked like. And the timing was because Trump is in power. That's why now they're empowered, and this is what's going to be coming. You need to give to the SPLC so that we'll protect you.
And of course, they do the most racist thing possible, and they kill a fat white woman, which you can't do. That's so anti-black. I can't even begin to explain how racist it is against black guys to kill a fat white woman.
I didn't even think of that. I never thought of that at all. This is why I come here to learn.
Exactly. You're taking our treasures. Oh, much respect to Heather Heyer. I'm sorry. It was Heather. I think that was her name. I only know her by her buffet handle.
I see someone's correcting me saying they said you will not replace us. I don't know. Maybe they were saying it could be. It could be that. Either way, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't. It really doesn't matter.
It's all fiction. It's all fiction. And now, and this is similar. We've seen this happen a couple times in this second term of Trump's, right? Like Trump coming in for a second term really fucked with a lot of people's day, because Trump coming in for a second term gave us time to get to that admission from Fulton County, right? Yeah, actually, yeah, we had 300,000 ballots that didn't get checked, right? Like they didn't get checked off. It's like, well, that kind of sounds like exactly what Trump was saying, is that there's this discrepancy in numbers, and that that was January 6th. January 6th is because of Fulton County, Georgia. The divide between Trump and Pence is because of Fulton County, Georgia. And it's like only because Trump was president again, and they were able to continue on with this investigation, pushing for it. And then you had private people pushing to get this data. Do we have the Fulton County election officials saying, yeah, you know what? That did happen. And it's like, holy crap. Well, now with the SPLC, we're finding out it's like, wow, all this random racism and stuff kind of seems like a psyop. Like this, you meet these people who are being called racist, or some of these people, and then they get this label, this tag on them. You're like, I know that guy. He's not racist at all. But you find out that they had to just generate this racism. And why? The worst reason ever to keep an organization going, like to keep a charitable organization that doesn't do charity work funded to the tune of millions and millions of dollars. And that's it. That's why they're burning the country to the ground. It's crazy.
Yeah. No, it was basically building off of the destructive nature of what Obama was feeding us, and making sure that legacy of his would only be more deeply entrenched rather than die. This was a very, very, very evil thing that they did, and it was purely motivated by greed. You see, the Democrat elite were motivated for their own political power, and the SPLC was doing it for their own financial power. This is so pure and simple, and we see this with movements all the time, right? With feminists, right?
Oh yeah,
the third wave feminism. It's like I try explaining to my audience, a movement means we are here, a real movement. When you have a real movement, it's like, okay, we're in this position, we want to change to this position. So the classic successful movement is the suffragettes of a century ago. So they wanted that we cannot vote, we want to get a right to vote. So that is they can state what their objective is, and when mission is accomplished, that we're moving from this current position to that other position. You can tell when something is not a movement when there is no definitive end to it. When you
Right.
say we're looking for justice, some amorphous term that gets defined by everyone in a different way. So that's why BLM was always just a mob that was feeding the grifters at the top, because you can always say that there's insufficient justice. The same way you can always say that the rich are not paying enough taxes. You can always say that we don't have equality. So when you come up with an amorphous term that's feel-good, sounding good term, that's not a movement. That is a bunch of grifters. And that over here, what we basically had ended racism. And they it was like there was no one could see anything. So much so that Jussie Smollett had to invent a hoax, because it's like we couldn't find any racists anywhere.
So you couldn't even find one at a Subway? How can you not? Like, I go there. I'll get you. No problem.
Yeah.
No, it's wild. Of course. And it's exactly what you said. It's this amorphous goal of, well, we want to end racism. What does that mean to you? Like what? Because the definition of racism just conveniently shifts. It shifts towards the more and more absurd as well, it used to be lynchings. Like
Right.
that's one thing. Now
and that's good. And that's a cause I can stand behind. No more lynchings. I'm totally on board with that. I'm totally on board with equal pay. Assuming that that we shouldn't be paying them less per hour based on their abilities and to perform a job. But when they start making up new numbers and saying, well, because we're not getting paid when we're not working, now all of a sudden we're making less per hour. I'm just like, all right, you're grifting for the purposes of just trying to, to try and perpetuate that there's a need. You need us. And that's what I was ultimately going is, what do you do with a movement once it succeeds and it's been really successful? You need to find a new target.
Yep.
And that's what we saw happen with feminism.
Like a government program. I mean, same thing.
Exactly. Well, we fixed this. Now what? Like, do we going to go home? Yeah. You're not a sports fan, right?
I mean, I don't follow any sports particularly, just because I don't have time. But I like them. Okay, I don't hate them.
I'm a diehard Yankee fan.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
The greatest season of my life was 1998, when the Yankees were like the most dominant team I'd ever seen in baseball in my lifetime. Okay, and after the World Series ended, and we crushed in the World Series, and now and you're basically the next day, you're like, after the parade, we're like, wait, now what? Like, you want more. Yeah. Like, I really, really enjoyed this. This was fun. It was phenomenal. It was exciting. There was bonding. Everything's amazing. And it's like you feel empty that it's gone. That's what happens with these successful movements. It's like, oh my gosh, we succeeded. What now? So you come up with a new goal. And ultimately, if you come up with a goal that's amorphous, in that case, that's a goal that can never possibly be quenched. And that's there in perpetuity. And that's when it's gone from a movement into a grift.
And speaking of equal treatment in the workplace, talk to me about JP Morgan.
Wait, where are we going?
Okay, I think it's turned out to be a hoax. But it was like the funniest story ever, where the woman at JP Morgan was keeping a male broker as a sex slave, like extorting him. But he's accused
of stories that don't come across my feed anywhere. I don't even want to know what your
my algorithm's awesome, Joe.
Your algorithm is so different from mine that I come here to, I guess I feel like it's like I feel like I'm almost experimenting in ways that are somewhat unsettling. But I come here and I'm just, okay, where we go?
Okay, here we go. Based on reports from April 2026, a high-profile lawsuit has been filed against a senior JP Morgan Chase executive, Lorna Hajdini, accusing her of sexual abuse, drugging, and racial harassment of a junior male employee. This hit Twitter pretty hard, but I'm getting reports that it might be a hoax, maybe not. Who knows what's going on? But forcing him to take Viagra, and participate in all this shady stuff. It's like, why wasn't that any of my bosses, Joe? I feel like I was not equally treated under the employment law. I need the Equal Employment Opportunity Act to come save me.
Wow.
You seriously haven't seen anything about this?
No, it literally hasn't come across my feed.
Oh my gosh, it's.
I'm seeing the chat is shocked that it hasn't come across my feed.
Because it was a big story. This wasn't like an obscure Nick found
I'm
this
not.
thing.
I'm not asking you if you made it up. But
If I would have made this up, I'd be brilliant. I'm a genius. Well, talk to me about Cole Allen. Cole Allen, like you said, you're writing your manifesto, which means you're ready. You got to be prepared. I understand that.
Right.
I don't know, like what's
It's a
your
lot of
100-meter dash time? Because this guy revolutionized the game. He just busted the defensive line. No big deal. Full sprint right down the center.
it's not nearly what it was. When I was young, I could fly, but now it's just, age has withered that away. But
You're gonna have to work on that, or get one of those like hoverboard things where you just lean forward and just.
They dropped the video tonight as to like how the Secret Service, of him, doing his race through the. Janine Pirro dropped the video of him racing through the hall and the reaction of the Secret Service who were supposed to be guarding the door there. And even I was able to identify so many flaws in just the way they reacted to him.
Why would the door just closed? Like that's the first thing. Like that's a quick way to stop someone who's running full speed is have a door that's closed.
Well, I mean, I guess they have an open lobby there if you have to picture there's like, hundreds or thousands of probably hundreds of guests showing up. So you need to have somewhat of an open lobby, I guess, in different ways for people to access, and it all depends on the venue itself. But I'm saying after the guy races through and one of the agents fires off, 3-5 shots, was basically firing and missing, but from like point blank range, but the guy was darting. He was like a jet. But they all follow after him, leaving only one guy there. And I was like, if this was not some lone lunatic, but this was, an Iranian cell, you're basically telling them that, hey, if we send through one decoy ahead, then we bring in 4 guys behind, we can basically shoot all these people in the back.
Yeah, I think they'll probably adjust. They'll adjust things. I'm surprised that after 2 assassination attempts, we didn't have that security really hasn't tightened up that much. And I think it's on one hand, it's really easy to say security should be better because there's a billion factors that go into it. You can only watch so much, right? In general. So it's easy to say security would be better. I'm not an expert on it, but it seems like a guy running down a hallway. Like if you're at the White House Correspondents' Dinner and there's anyone running at all, shoot him. Just shoot him. I can't see a reason.
You haven't
to
seen
do
the
that.
video, have you?
No, I saw a video a while back, but it might have been fake.
No. This is what Janine Pirro, U.S. Attorney, shared out. And
Okay, show me.
I'll pull it up here because I've
Here,
got it here.
I'm gonna mute you for a second and play a couple of these super tips. But if I have you unmuted, it'll echo. So 1 second. It's not personal. Let's see. Here we go. We got a couple super tips.
You have my trailer park self on here and don't have a Joe voice. Nick, you are too gay today.
I know. We do need to get a Joe voice. I'll work on it. I'm sorry for the delay.
Even if Comey isn't convicted, the process is still the punishment. FAFO.
I think people are underestimating how serious federal indictments are. And they're just, if this is a state indictment or something coming from, a heavily Republican district of Florida, I would agree. But a federal indictments, they don't play around on this stuff because it is a ton of resources and there is a reputation of the executive branch to maintain.
Hey, Nick, $10 from Uncle Rico. 2 of my favorite legal beagles. When you're on together, I save time. Wait till you see the picture of the male sex slave. He looks like the Pajit version of Uncle Fester.
Oh my God. Okay, let me unmute you. Okay, here we go. Thanks
That was really good. All right, so I have it primed up here to, I think, this is when, to the key moment here, if you want to share my screen, or I can give you the link if you want to do it yourself. But you want me to give you the link? Is that easier?
No. I'll let you control it.
All right, cool. So you got to share my screen.
Oh, yep. On 1 second. Working on it. There we go.
All right. So Janine Pirro shared this out. So we know this is legit. The first 4 minutes of this video is basically him walking back and forth in the lobby there. Not really anything exciting. I'm not even sure why they shared all this, but it really starts 4 minutes in when they show on the day of. Some of that was from the day before. They show the day of.
Yeah, I saw this like a while back.
Yeah, they showed. Okay. Today they came out with the color version. We saw the black and white. Today we have the color version. And
I don't see colors, so I understand.
No. Okay, so I want you to note. See how there's a little circle up there in the corner. A little circle up there in the upper left corner.
Yeah.
Okay, that's where he is. Okay, that's where he is. The Secret Service dog smelled something. This is just astonishing. We'll watch it once first, and then we'll go back. That's him going in.
Okay, yeah.
That we just saw. Now a dog is following after him. So the dogs are well trained. He's like, no, you smell it. He's having a conversation with.
This guy's taking down the metal detector. They're putting it away or doing.
And here he comes with the gun. Now that happened so fast you can't even tell that he was shot at 3 to 5 times.
Right.
And
it looks like
slow-mo.
He pointed the gun at one of the officers. Did he get a round off?
It's not clear. I think he did, but note here the position of everyone who was in there. We saw no fewer than 10 officers come through here. Now at this point, they're all following after him, and only one guy is left here at the door. At the guarding the gate. That's what I was saying. If there was a second wave behind this decoy, there's nothing saving anyone. But they're going to show in slow-mo, like in 1/3 speed, so you can get a better feel for what this is, for what happened here. So this is, and you can look at the guy with the dog in the corner there. He's talking to him, and then a second later, the guy comes running out with the gun. Like how the guy didn't see him with a gun or anything like that, I don't even know. And now here he comes charging. Now this police officer down on the bottom pulls the gun right away, and blam, blam, blam.
Yeah.
Watch.
Man, he could have tagged any one of those people in the...
That's a second shot right there. Third shot. He could have yeah, you're right. He could have ended up killing anyone behind.
Yeah.
Good
on him. Good on him, I guess.
Yeah.
They probably all owed him money. He's like, I can't hit any of these guys.
But look how everyone just sort of follows after him. This looks like such terrible protocol.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
I think it goes to this. It goes to something that go away. It goes to something that I think we people overlook, and we see this in some of these cases that we've covered, the trials, where it's like, oh, they're a professional killer. It's like professional killers in movies are way different than professional killers in real life. Like a professional killer in a movie, it's like, oh, he's an ex-Navy SEAL, like super sniper, like superhuman. It's like professional killers in real life is like a black kid from Chicago that you paid like $8,000 to. Like that's an assassin. And that guy's probably got more bodies than most soldiers do. Yeah. And it's wild to think that. But like this is a thing. It's like, oh, the highly trained Secret Service, they're not ready for some guy to come just full sprinting into the White House Correspondents' Dinner. They literally don't know what to do. Yeah. This doesn't happen. Malcolm Gladwell, he's a skinny little twerpy guy, but he writes some interesting stuff. He wrote an article about TSA, and he was talking about how TSA is all security theater, and it's been completely ineffective at actually stopping guns and explosives from getting onto planes. He's like, they did these studies, these tests of the system, and they basically had people go through TSA with guns in their bags, and they all got through, and they made it through. And if they had found them, they wouldn't have been arrested. It was a government thing, but they all made it through. And the reason is, or one of the things he said is, he's like, you got to understand, they've checked like 6 billion bags. Since TSA was implemented, they've checked 6 billion bags, and they've found less than like 20 handguns. total. And so they don't, like every TSA agent, none of them know a guy who found a handgun on the like radar thing. None of them, none of their coworkers have. They may have heard a story about it. So when it actually goes by on the screen, their brains don't process it because there's no way they're going to see a gun on the screen. And in the same way, like you have this, no way is some guy going to come full sprinting with a shotgun at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. That's ludicrous.
And when I was covering this, I had a thought along the lines of what you were just describing, where I was like, human nature is that if every day is just a normal day, you're just not, I think there is somewhat of a human nature that it's like you just sort of zone out all the time. So when it actually, when the feces comes flying at the fan, especially when it's flying as fast as that guy is running, you're just like, oh my God, something's actually happening. And by the time your brain processes that, the guy's past you.
Yeah.
You so I think it is a little bit harsh to be, to sort of, we're looking at the 10 seconds or 6 seconds of work of these Secret Service officers in the years and years, day after day of them protecting or working. So it's very easy for us to be hypercritical because we're like, well, why weren't you focused? And it's like, dude, if you were doing this every single day, I don't know how focused you would be able to be every minute of every day. So
no, you get your mind gets relaxed, tired. You're sitting there talking to your bros. Like they've taken down one of the gates. Most of the people are already inside. They know there's not going to be like a big line of people. And so, at this point, they're kind of on coast mode, like it's
yeah, I think that you and I are looking at human nature, but people still are going to be critical. People are still, and I understand it because this is what we see of them. We haven't seen them day by day. All we see of them is this is what they're like on the job, that they're basically clowning around, standing around, talking to each other and not actually doing what we're paying them to do. And one of the most important jobs of the world, protecting the president of the United States. Right. So it's very easy for us to be hypercritical because only one of them even seems to know the guy's coming out of 10 agents there. So, it's sort of like, when you express an opinion like what we're expressing, you're going to get a million people hating, saying that's their job. How do you expect, and I think that
I just assume that 80% of people are awful at their jobs, no matter what job it is. That's basically that meets out to be true. The 80-20 rule is as undefeated as the crazy hot matrix.
Yeah. This is accurate.
DX Mania 95. Thank you for gifting 10 beautiful members on the chat. We love non-consensual presenting of members to other chat members. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. That brings us to 55 of those bad boys today.
Wow. Awesome.
So thank you guys for doing that. We do at least one members only show a week. And you should come enjoy them. They're fun. Rusty Shackelford says $10 for the nose cam. Thank you. Appreciate that. Nice. Pro Engineer, are there legal implications for the KKK members that received the funds from the SPLC? Maybe. Mostly conspiracy is what I would think. But here's the thing. You want those guys to talk. You don't want to charge them with crimes unless you need to charge them with a crime to leverage that to get them to talk. But if your main indictment target is the SPLC, you don't want the people that they hired in their criminal scheme to be charged and become hostile to your ability to get information from them on the stand. You want them to go. Probably immunity is what I'm guessing you'd give immunity to these people and say, look, we need you to come in and say that, yeah, this person gave me these gift cards that they said would come from some other thing than the SPLC. Like you need that testimony to sustain the conviction.
I mean, I guess in theory you could draw up a fact pattern where they could be facing criminal liability, but I don't think that most typical scenarios, I wouldn't think that they're forming the mens rea necessary in order to establish that they're trying to commit some sort of crime. They just want to get paid. They're like, hey, look, someone's giving me money. Why do I care?
The one guy stole 25 boxes of documents, right? And that said that the SPLC and he coordinated payment over the scanning of those documents. So that right there is an overt criminal act. Right. But again, it's like when you catch the street level drug dealers, it's like you don't want to charge those guys.
You want the whale. You don't care about the guppy.
Yeah, you want the guy who's bringing in the stuff from Miami. You don't want the guy you don't care about the guy who's selling it at $50 a shot on the street.
I'm just wondering, who else they paid off. A lot of people are speculating that Nick Fuentes grew massively as a result of the Unite the Right rally, and all sorts of people are questioning whether, in fact, he or others, and a lot of people who seem to have just disappeared from social media or taken a nice little vacation since
Isn't that weird?
Since the SPLC thing dropped, that they just sort of went off the radar.
They all just have out of the country vacations planned. It's
that they
amazing.
forgot to tell their fans about. I didn't mention this. Oh, that's so weird.
I don't know. That's a really tough one, because on one hand you could have a coordinated thing. The other thing is Nick Fuentes has been pretty consistent for years in his messaging and like how he approaches things. I mean, the main thing that he's done is he's moderated his language a little bit, but like the core of his messaging has been there. He might have been just one of those situations where he was there ready to reap the benefits of what was going on, whether he was directly involved or not, right? Like, so here's a guy saying all this stuff, and it just happens to align with what the SPLC is fomenting. And then, the train hits the tracks, so to speak, and it's just a partnership that they never knew existed. Or it could be coordinated too.
Right. When you say partnership, I always assumed he was a glowy when he was never charged for January 6th, but maybe he just was an employee at the SPLC.
That would be hilarious. Tracy Z. Collins says, as lawyers who defended Trump against unlawful charges, do you see his use of the law as I'll show you how it's done right? Or is he playing the long game for America's future? I just trust he's smarter than us. Love y'all. One thing it's easy to overestimate Trump's involvement in all of this stuff, because what Trump could do is say, look, we're gonna go after these people. I want you to do that. I want you to go after anyone you can who really betrayed the American people. They betrayed, they betrayed us. They brought the country to a worse place. And he could leave a very vague instruction like that, and then the people that they install in the DOJ could start going after people like Comey, the SPLC. They could go after political opponents based on a general instruction. And it also could be that he's like, I want you to get that son of a bitch. But we don't know the answer. And it's tough to know the answer, because those conversations would generally be privileged between him and the Attorney General. And the Attorney General is the President's counsel. So that's one problem that you have. Two, they're probably not recorded anywhere, if that's out there. There may be some directional stuff that is public, and we do know that there's some focus on some of these organizations, but we don't know to what extent and how personal it is.
And we never will. We
Right.
never will know. Look, you want the President of the United States guiding them in broad strokes. Whether if there's a particular charge, they might call it to his attention that, hey, we're looking at doing this, and just sort of get his nod of approval or rejecting it in case he gets upset. So you would think that something like this they might call to his attention once they come across it, but I don't see him as directing them, go get the SPLC specifically. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't see that as happening. Although technically, if he wanted to, despite what the Democrat senators were all talking to Pam Bondi about, we don't want you to be Trump's man. No, Todd Blanche is his man. That's his job. His job is to basically be enacting and enforcing and focusing the enforcement and the fulfillment of the agenda set forth by 47. That's what he's supposed to be doing. If he's not Trump's man, he should be fired. So.
Yeah, if you manage a McDonald's and that guy doesn't sell Big Macs, you fire him. Like your manager doesn't sell Big Macs, you fire him. That's what are you doing? Like the only thing I want you to do is sell Big Macs. I don't want you to focus on mixed smoothies or
on
whatever,
the
right?
on the milkshakes when the ice cream thing's always broken.
They fixed that, right?
Did they?
Yeah. So the reason it was always broken was because they had a license agreement where the shake machine had to be worked on by a McDonald's certified technician, and there weren't enough of them around. So when the shake machine would break down, they couldn't just have some mechanic come out and fix it. They had to have the McDonald's mechanic come out and fix it. But there was a court ruling, either appellate level or Supreme Court level, not too long ago with a right to repair case, where they basically said McDonald's franchisees have a right to repair the equipment that they lease, and McDonald's can't impose this restriction. And now if you go in, it's really rare that the ice cream machines are broken. It's amazing how well capitalism works when you just let it happen.
True.
But let's see. We've got Doc number 27 says ending racism via noble bigotry, liberal logic. Yeah. Let's see. Gen X Medic Nick, are you saying that sometimes a PS5 needs to be obtained? Yep. That's look. It doesn't matter if she tips the scales as long as the PS5 is on sale. Tiffany Lee says, then why do they always open my bag to check my Dyson Airwrap? Oh, okay, so just because they're never going to find a gun, or they don't believe they're going to find a gun, doesn't mean that the theater of it isn't important. The theater of TSA was the whole purpose following 9/11. We want Americans to feel safe getting on a plane. Here is how we're going to show them. And it was this massive, like, I remember flying before 9/11. It was magical. You could like go up to the gates, you go shopping at the airport, you could hang around and wait for people. Like it was a completely different environment. 9/11 happens and everything changes. And it's like, but they had to show us that they weren't going to let these guys do it again, which is kind of wild, because definitely the 9/11 hijackers could pull off the same thing today through TSA. Like they absolutely could do that. TSA wouldn't really, like, it's not like they brought a bunch of guns and bombs onto the planes. They had box cutters, and people get through with sharp objects all the time. Yeah. I flew internationally 4 times with a pocket knife in my backpack that I didn't know was there. And then I was in Dallas, and I go through their security, and they're like, what's this? I'm like, I have been looking for that knife for a while. Like, I didn't know where it was. It's yours now. I don't want it. I don't want anything to do with it. I am really sorry. I had no idea it was in my backpack. You can have it. But like, I went through multiple airports, multiple TSAs. They never found that thing at all. So it's like they could easily pull this off, the same type of thing off from the TSA perspective. Now the changes on the plane with a locked cockpit, that's much harder to breach and stuff like that. That's a little different. But just getting on the plane with a weapon, yeah, I mean that happens every day by accident and on purpose. So, oh man, so what else has been going on with you? I haven't talked to you since Purim. I never know how to pronounce it. Purim. Okay. There's like a town.
Like a cat purring?
Yes.
And then im.
So there's a town nearby called Purim. Yeah. Like it's right here. So a
lot of people pronounce it that way. A lot of people.
Okay,
if you
so
said
Purim.
Yeah, Purim. Yeah.
Purim. Okay. I like to be
it's been a long time. But thank God things are going well. I check out all the novelties that you bring in, like Super Tip GGs. And when I see you streaming, I'm always happy to redirect over in your direction, much as I always do.
I notice it's always appreciated.
Yeah, but I don't always, I'll admit that I don't always check. So how often are you streaming?
Not often enough. Couple times a week, trying to get it back up to 4 or 5 times a week plus a bonus show. But man, the end of the school year is just like brutal. Yeah. All the kids, 5 children's worth of activities. My oldest son is graduating this year, so it's like a little bit extra and special going on here.
But I'll tell you this: when you focus on law, you're untouchable. You're just like you're.
Well, I want to be touched, though.
Yeah. No, my friends.
No, and that's what most of the shows that I've been doing. That's what I focus on is that I've been staying away from the drama stuff. The other problem I have is like I just don't give a shit about not problem with the drama stuff. For the most part, it's like I don't give a shit unless there's a personal thing that I find really funny. I don't care about all this stuff. It's so exhausting. And I go back to that video I made when Legal Bites tossed a DUI guy out or whatever. And it's like, it happens all the time. it always breaks down into this like weird infighting. And I don't know why. I don't know why everybody should just be friends. It's way better for the audience. It's better for content. People are like getting the purpose of our shows if we're talking about law and politics and our thoughts on those things. That's what our shows are about. And when we delve into this, the drama world, which I'm very guilty of doing that in the past, like not trying to absolve myself of it. But when you delve into it, it's like, well, that's not serving what your show's about. Yeah. And a big problem that I had in the past was that, a whole bunch of things behind the scenes were not going the best that they could for me. And the way that kind of manifested is it became harder and harder for me to do the work part of work. And so I would just come on to stream. I drink a lot, which I felt like that would kind of carry me through whatever content. And then you just kind of talk about whatever hit Twitter, which is usually dramatic shit between people or whatever. And it got really lazy, but it's not like I was trying to be. It's just kind of how it turned out. But that wasn't, that's not acceptable. Yeah. And so I've been really trying to focus on that. And the other thing, it's one of the reasons I haven't been streaming as much is like, if I'm not really like ready to go, I'm not going to force it because I'm not going to just come on here and bring sloppy stuff. So I try to at least know what topics I'm going to do and have them be useful and stuff like that.
Well, I feel like legal philosophy is something that you don't hear people really discussing, and you and I can have conversations like that in ways that I would struggle to find with most other attorneys, where you can actually, play devil's advocate and say, okay, what about this argument? What about that argument? And really, follow through as to like how the law should be and how the law versus how the law is and what's likely to work and what's politically expedient versus what's justice. And I think there's a really large part of the internet which is craving that. So if you can manage this, but it's hard work. It's not easy. Everyone thinks you could just sit down and start having these conversations. You need to have the right topics. You need to have something that's of interest to the public. If we're talking about some case involving two people no one heard of, then no one's paying attention.
And it's like people will be like, well, find a funny lawsuit to cover. It's like, Afro Man comes around. That's a generationally comedy lawsuit. Like you're not going to get that again, most likely, anytime soon. You can't just find them. And there's something magical about doing a lawsuit that's happening now. As much fun as it can be to go back and revisit something, when you can just go Google the outcome, it's not the same. It's not. And so it's like, that's why I'm waiting for Courtney Clenny, the OnlyFans girl. Like, right. Who's the boyfriend? Yeah. Well, I think she like threw a knife. Allegedly. I think she threw the knife at him. So she's like a fucking ninja. She's But like, I love her. I think she's fantastic. I want her to she's obviously not guilty. But no, I can't wait for that trial. I think it'll be amazing. I think it's got a good overlap with interesting people, but also interesting legal concepts. Like her claim is self-defense. I mean, he's a big guy, but I mean, there's all sorts of video and like allegations of her abusing him on a routine basis.
He ran into her knife 10 times.
Exactly. But then, we have Carmelo Anthony, Tyler Robinson. That case is, first of all, his attorney team is suspect. They were the attorneys for Corey Richins and just really never brought anything to the trial at all.
Well, what they have is Candace Owens and 1,000 other people trying to create as much reasonable doubt as they possibly can generate through public opinion. So,
yeah, and so that case is really interesting because, based on you have two sides of the internet, right? Like you have the side that looks at things that are likely going to get brought into trial, and he's toast. Like under the side where you go, okay, what's going to actually be admissible? Like, what are you going to get to bring in? And then you have this other side of people, and like Candace Owens being one of them, but there are also, there are reasonable people who are not commentators who are out there, and they're like, well, look, I have questions about some of these things. How's a rifle round getting stuck if it's just going into neck tissue? And it's like, you can try and explain it, but we don't actually know the answers. Like, it's like, well, maybe it was this way, maybe not. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah. And so, but when you have this dichotomy of like, with what's likely to be presented in court, this guy's cooked out of his mind. Yeah. But then there's this whole sector of the internet that's like, no, you don't know the real story. And it's like, all right.
It's all a psyop. It's all a psyop.
Right. But what if it is? Like, that's so cool. That's so wild if it is. And but we'll probably never know. It's like the Murdaugh trial. It's like, I fully believe that guy was murdered.
He did not kill his son and
yeah.
He's a jerk and a massive SOB. I will never ever believe that he killed his wife and son. And I think there's forensic evidence which makes it impossible for it to have happened. But he was so slammed by a twisted judge and a twisted clerk and a ridiculous prosecution. And there was so much wrong with that trial.
Well, we're likely going to get a retrial on it.
Do you think it's coming?
Okay, so did you happen to watch?
The clerk. I saw there was new stuff with the clerk.
Okay, so they went to oral arguments at the Supreme Court of South Carolina on it. And we're waiting for the ruling on it. But the argument from Harpootlian,
and his lawyers were great.
Yeah, seriously great lawyers. The argument from Dick Harpootlian before the Supreme Court of South Carolina was compelling. And it basically, the rule as I understand it is, if an agent of the court makes statements that could influence a jury in the presence of the jury, and if you can prove that, retrial. Like, it's a mistrial because there's no way to know the impact that those statements had on the conviction. And so this woman said she said
he's a liar. Don't believe anything he says.
Yeah, and she's like, wow, he's taking the stand. That's really weird. That's different. You can't say that stuff before a jury as a court clerk. Yeah. You can't say that stuff to a jury as a person in the gallery. They'll throw you out. Not only that, she was actually riding in taxis and Ubers home with some of these jurors and stuff. And so the only reason that there hasn't been a mistrial so far is because some of the statements at the district court level were excluded. And so the question was that an abuse of discretion by the district court judge? And if the Supreme Court of South Carolina thinks that that's an abuse of discretion, he's going to get a mistrial. And
wasn't one of the jurors like a brother of a SLED agent who testified or something like that? I remember one of the jurors like had a very close family relationship with like one of the witnesses, and I was just like, I don't know what the hell is happening in this courtroom. This is insanity. We had weeks and weeks of testimony about his financial crimes, which was so
shouldn't have even been there. Shouldn't have been there.
And look, if you're the Supreme Court of South Carolina, you feel sympathetic with the state in having to retry a trial that took like what 6-7 weeks. But you could say, you can shorten it by basically saying, stop allowing in all this financial crap because it's ridiculously prejudicial. I hated him, and I learned to hate him because of you get I'll never forget this. There was a kid up there who looked like he was what Forrest Gump was based on. This was a client of his, okay, this is a client who he defrauded. He had gone to Alex Murdaugh for some personal injury thing, and he gets up there and he talks like Forrest Gump, and he looks like so confused, like he looks like a baby face and such a kid that you're just like, oh man, you just like you feel such terrible sympathy. And basically how Alex Murdaugh lied to him and told him there was no settlement when a settlement had come in, and he basically spent all the money on drugs. And then when you're sitting there thinking like, oh, this poor little retarded boy, I feel so bad for him. And they're like, and he's like, and the money was supposed to come to your brother also. Is he going to come and testify? He's like, nah, he's kind of slow. And you're just like, he has a slower brother. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Freaking monster. How can you take love from these poor little kids? You're sick mother effer. Like, I hate you. But like,
he's awful. Yeah.
And that's why they shouldn't be allowed to testify, because I didn't learn nothing about this trial. About the murder, all I learned is, wow, what an evil jerk. I want to see him rot in hell. And you can't show that to a jury. It's so prejudicial.
Well, here's the thing. Him being so awful is also why I think there's credibility to someone else carrying out the murder. And real quick, Purple One says he's guilty AF. Nobody else benefited from their death besides him. He was apparently buying and presumably using / selling $50,000 worth of fentanyl a month. I think we learned this dude was moving product, and it's very possible that one of the various fentanyl distribution gangs, came to collect, and it was like, well, you better come up with the money or, people around you are going to get hurt type thing. It's very possible that something like that happened. And so I don't think it's entirely out of the question that there was motivations for other people to hurt him. There's also that shady, wait, was it his family or someone else? The shady family where everybody just kept getting killed off. Like the chick on the boat and like all this stuff, everybody was just dying. And you're like, how many deaths are going on around these people? And you kind of wonder what people get into. I don't know. It's unfathomable to me to live that way. But
the forensic evidence I was referring to, in case some of you might have forgotten, I don't remember the exact numbers, but he was. I mean, you have to explain to me the science on something. If you cannot tell me he's the lone shooter, and also tell me that we see him making a phone call, and 6 seconds later, his wife's cell phone is thrown out the window of a car that is half a mile away.
Yeah.
So how is it that we know her phone is moving and flying through the air, according to their expert witnesses, half a mile away from him while he's on his phone, and 6 seconds later, a half mile away? No one can traverse. You couldn't traverse if you were in a car going 100 miles an hour. It would take you 25 seconds to traverse that distance. You cannot get that. And he was supposedly walking. It's impossible for him to have been the person who threw that phone. So that to me is forensic evidence that says, look, at the very least, there's a second person, and there's no theory anyone could present as to who would be working with him or why someone would be working with him on this crime. And that's what tells me the forensic evidence is, no, these were other people. And I do think a lot of people hated him, and for good reason, because he was a jerk. He was evil.
Awful guy.
Terrible human being. So, everything here to me, I was so aggravated by this. But I would love a retrial. Oh my God, you and I will be.
I would love a retrial if they keep the financial crimes out of it.
Yeah,
which they really need to do. The financial crimes, they didn't in any way, to me, tie those to the murder, the events of the murder. They didn't seem relevant at all. It seemed very prejudicial. But we'll see. We'll see. I do want to say I missed saying thank you to Cecil, who rated over on Rumble. Cecil says a bunch of people from Cecil's community have been watching. So thank you guys. You're all welcome here at all times. You just have to take your clothes off. And the same thing to, Dominion After Dark, who also rated over on Rumble. And again, we do have a nudity rule. Like, you have to engage in that. We don't. Joe and I are exempt for now.
And you're welcome.
Until we go members only. Members only has a different meaning around here. Let's see. Dragonfly says Alex Jones says Charlottesville was an inside job.
Everyone knows that.
And maybe it was, right? Like, we were talking about that, like specifically that the SPLC could have completely created the Charlottesville, or been directly responsible for Charlottesville, which would be wild to see SPLC get tied to that and then get tagged for the murder. Wouldn't that be crazy if they ever tied
SPLC,
SPLC,
or what they pay him for, or their agents?
Well, because like think about this: if they had felony wire fraud that funded the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, you now have a felony murder with Heather Heyer, because of the felony that they committed, which allowed this rally to happen, you now have a murder that took place during the commission of that felony.
Well, now it gets tenuous, and also those charges likely would have to be brought in North Carolina where the murder happened, you would think. So
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So it wouldn't, again, well, I was going off the theory that I had mentioned earlier that all this stuff in this indictment is from Alabama, but SPLC is a well-funded organization. We have every reason to believe that they could have been funding any other of the KKK organizers to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars. No reason to limit it.
If the government so far found $3 million, it tells you that there probably is $25 million that they spent, total over the years. So
yeah, over a decade, easy. That's pennies to the SPLC.
Yeah.
Tracy Z. Collins says, "But Joe, did we go to the moon?"
I'm very torn on this.
Are you really?
I'm very, very torn on it. I saw this thing which was basically debunking all the. I am very, very torn on the moon thing. I saw something that was debunking all the problems with the moon landing thing that we had. But so I was, for a long time, I thought no. And then I was like, maybe, I don't know. It's a lot of people. I don't know. I'll tell you this. I don't think we killed Osama bin Laden.
Oh, you think he made it?
I think he died.
Oh, okay.
I think he died, and then they said, oh, okay, we need to have some sort of operation to make it look as if we killed him. Otherwise, Americans will feel deprived of getting justice.
So we went and extracted the body, or we didn't even need to get the body. We
made an operation.
Right. So we had an operation to make it look like we either, we killed him and then dumped him in the ocean or whatever.
It's like that's what you do. You dump him in the ocean, no pictures, no nothing. To me, this was just a very convenient thing that they were basically, that the body has to be disposed of before anyone knows he's dead. Come on. I think it's a healthy lie. I think it helped America heal. So even though Obama lied, I still think it's a healthy lie, and I don't want that truth to ever come public. But they'll never convince me that we
cave dialysis, I hear, isn't the best way to do it. So it's I think I'm with you. Because he allegedly had he needed dialysis.
Right? Kidney issues. Yeah.
So Doug Fat says, "Damn, I've been burning crosses on my own front lawn for 26 years for free." I think that was one of the big reveals too, right? It's like, well, they paid him $13,000 for participating in a cross burning. It's like, you can get paid for that? Like, well, now I'm kind of thinking about it, right? Like, I don't know.
I think the moon landing's real. I'm leaning that way. That's how
you're leaning towards real on the moon landing.
I'm leaning towards real on the moon landing. Yeah.
I'm sold on the moon landing. I'm compromised. So I'm 100% in. I did burn a lunar lander figurine on the lawn of Lance Armstrong. No, wait, Neil Armstrong and Lance Armstrong.
Oh,
it's stupid one-tested biker. I don't trust that guy. Both of those guys. Yeah, I did do that. So, but that's only because I believe that the moon landing was true.
All right.
But okay, so the other. Well, I have the manifesto thing. We talked about Cole Allen running through. Should we pull up his manifesto and read through it real quick?
How long is it?
It's only a couple pages. It really wasn't.
Sure.
So here we go.
I can go like another 15 minutes or so. So
okay, yeah. Anytime you need to go,
yeah.
Feel free. Let me close all these stupid windows. New York Post, 8 billion ads. Here we go. All right. Is this, I think, no, that's not good. We don't want that. We'll just go with this. So here we go. His full anti-Trump manifesto. This was a good picture. Like, how embarrassing. That's... And look, I'm a person who's overtly familiar with having an embarrassing photo attached to law enforcement. I feel like I'm personally qualified to say this is a really fucking embarrassing picture. I wouldn't want that on my resume. All right, so they've recreated the text, or just typed it up. Hello, everybody. So I may have given a lot of people a surprise today. Let me start off by apologizing to everyone whose trust I abused.
Okay, let's just pause. Okay.
Yeah.
He is the inspiration. This is why, look at his last minute manifesto.
Like that Peter Cetera song from Karate Kid.
Yes, he's the meaning. He's the meaning in my life. He's the inspiration. This is what I see this, and I'm just like, no, I don't want that to happen to me. Where it's like, oh my gosh, I'm about to go off half cocked. I need to put something down fast. You need to think it through. It's got to be like a healthy manifesto.
Well, this guy didn't have to do that. He's a genius. Have you seen the praise heaped upon him by the people who knew him?
No.
They're like, this is like the smartest guy I've ever met. He had an engineering degree from Caltech, I think.
Right.
And then he was a teacher, like a high school teacher, I guess, or middle school, something like that.
Yeah.
And people are like, God, he's like the smartest guy ever. And I'm looking at him like, nope, he's wearing, not if he's dressed like that. He's not the smartest guy ever. That's not it. What are you doing? You're wearing a sweater over a button up, messy in the collar. Like, come on now. If you're going to do this, button the top button, wear a tie, have the tie going, and you don't have your sweater zipped all the way up. Like, come on. And coordinate. This isn't coordinated at all.
And this is like a picture that like he knows he's posing for also, you know? Like,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And he probably posted it somewhere. That's how we found it.
So I apologize to my parents for saying I had an interview without specifying it was for Most Wanted. That's gay.
He's so he thinks he's so clever.
Yeah. And this has parallels to my favorite murderer, Matthew Harris. Well, he didn't even get to murder anybody. But Matthew Harris, the writer of death sentences, right? He is another guy, PhD from Georgetown, professor at UCLA, and it's in the philosophy department, and it's like promoted as like this super genius. Like these guys are just heaped praise by these institutions, and then turns out they're fucking kooky. they're nuts. I apologize to my colleagues and students for saying I had a personal emergency. By the time anyone reads this, I probably most certainly do need to go to the ER, but can hardly call that not a self-inflicted status. He didn't even get to do that.
No.
He didn't even get to
utter foul.
How are you so fucking smart, but you don't get to go out in style? Like he just gets arrested on the carpet, shirtless. Embarrassing. I apologize to all the people.
Maybe they pulled off his shirt because it looked like this ensemble. So.
You know, one of those guys like pulled his shirt over his head like in a hockey fight.
Oh, yeah?
He just kicked his ass for a little bit. Let's see. I apologize to all the people I traveled next to, all the workers who handled my luggage, and all the other non-targeted people at the hotel who I put in danger simply by being near. But you didn't.
I don't know what that means. He's trying to. I think he's trying very hard to present himself as being totally normal and trying to, and that he's a courteous, considerate person, and that he wants people to look at this as a righteous act that he's committing.
Yeah, but he's also trying to.
He's a good person. Yeah.
He's trying to present that he's got like this massive aura, like he's so fucking dangerous. It's like, dude, you can have a shotgun, like you can be covered in shotguns. If you're not pointing them at people, it doesn't really matter. You're not a danger to them unless you do that. So he's like, I was a danger just by being near you. It's like, you don't have Ebola. Like, you're fine. I apologize to everyone who was abused and or murdered before this. That's a big list. Like, that's everyone who was abused and or murdered. Some of them deserved it somewhere, right?
Probably at least a handful.
Not every murder victim was innocent.
Right. Some of them are kind of jerks. We always tend to lionize the victim as if like there was some heroic thing, but the reality is a fair percentage of humanity are kind of douchebags.
At least some of them are pedophiles that get killed, right?
Yeah,
Like where someone
this
is
is true.
like, well, I'm tired of this guy touching kids.
And you might not even know that they're a pedophile, but you happen to be killing a pedophile.
Yeah. Joseph Rosenbaum, right? From the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. The first.
Right, exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Died doing what he loved, trying to touch a child. Let's see. Everyone who was abused and or murdered before this, to all those who suffered before I was able to attempt this, to all those who may still suffer after. Yeah, you failed, buddy. Regardless of my success or failure. Big F. I don't expect forgiveness. You can't DEI your way into successful murders. You know, like, it's like you may have gotten your degree and your stupid teaching job from DEI stuff, but once it comes down to it, you got to put steel on target, and you failed, buddy.
Nice.
I don't expect forgiveness, but if I could have seen any other way to get this close, I would have taken it. Again, my sincere apologies. I don't know what that means. Any other way to get this close to the president?
I guess so.
Did he think he was going to like murder a bunch of people on the way? Because he would have had to write this ahead of time. So I guess that's what he thought. Like he thought he was going to have to mass shoot his way to his targets.
Yeah. He did fire at a cop, so.
Yeah. On to why I did any of this. I am a citizen of the United States of America. Yeah, cool. A lot of murderers. What my representatives do reflects on me. It doesn't.
That's ridiculous.
That's amazing.
Smartest man I ever met.
It's like it has actually nothing to do with you at all. And I am no longer willing to permit a pedophile, rapist, and traitor to coat my hands with his crimes. Okay. I don't mean to be gross, but the context of what he just said, right? Pedophile, rapist, and traitor coat my hands with his crimes. Get a wet wipe, man.
Mother phrasing.
Well, to be completely honest, I was no longer willing a long time ago, but this is the first real opportunity I've had to do something about it. And that's a curious question for me, or curious statement.
What?
At no time prior was he able to do something similar? Like never? How? You'd think.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's not like you would think maybe the Garden or something like. It's not like this is the only public appearance Trump has ever made, right?
Yeah.
All the rallies that he was at.
Exactly.
I think he's been recently. I think this is a relatively new thing as far as his level of animus toward Trump. Like it happened like after he was inaugurated, or shortly before. So I don't think he hated him with the same vitriol 5 years ago.
I have a bad joke that I'm not going to say. I don't know. Maybe he's just late because he was on colored people time.
Moving on.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Let's see. While I'm discussing this, I'll also go over my He's doing the speech thing. Here's my intro. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to say.
This is not a manifesto. This is this is a confession. It's not a manifesto.
I'll also go over my expected rules of engagement, probably in a terrible format, but I'm not a military, so too bad. Well, we can tell you're not a military. Oh, he's not military. Not a. I added the A. He's not military. He wasn't claiming to be a military. Administration officials, not including Mr. Patel. Oh, they are targets prioritized from highest ranking to lowest. Why isn't he after Cash?
I don't know.
Cash Money has that immunity.
You would think. I'm looking at my own manifesto and I'm like, dude, I put this guy to shame.
Yeah, no, I can't wait for the final published version of
I
yours.
can give you a page of it if you want after like a wrap up here. But.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll get through because you got to go. Do you want to switch to yours real quick?
No. Go ahead.
And so let's see. Secret Service, they are targets only if necessary and to be incapacitated non-lethally. Fucking Hudson Hawk over here. If possible. AKA, I hope they're wearing body armor because center mass of shotguns messes up people who aren't. It turns out that the person was. So that's pretty good. He is pretty smart, kind of prescient. Hotel security, not targets if at all possible. AKA, unless they shoot at me. Well, they don't have to be targets just because they shoot at you. I think that's a false premise. It's really up to him. Capitol Police, same as hotel security. National Guard, same as hotel security. Hotel employees, they're not targets at all. Even if the hotel employee does shoot at him, to be clear, they're not targets. Same with guests. In order to minimize casualties, I will also be using buckshot rather than slugs, less penetration through walls. You're not.
By the way, I just want to point out Barack Obama said we don't know his motives. We don't know what his objectives were. It's not clear. It's not really clear what happened here. He is the same as every social media influencer. There's no difference between him and them, other than the fact that he had less to lose than they do because they have the grift. He is literally the same as them. Everything he says, he sounds like them. He writes like them.
Yeah, well, he thinks that a shotgun slug has less penetrative power going through the wall than buckshot, which I guess at some level, yes, but not much. Like, not much less. Buckshot goes through walls similar to...
that sounds
similar
pretty
to
piercing.
Slugs.
Yeah, that sounds pretty piercing.
I would still go through most everyone here to get to the targets if it were absolutely necessary. So he's a liar. On the basis that most people chose to attend by a speech by a pedophile. So that's the motivation there. Rapist and traitor. And are thus complicit. But I really hope it doesn't come to that. Which is crazy to say that everybody at the White House Correspondents' Center is complicit in, like, let's accept the premise that Trump is those things. Half the people in the room hate him.
Yeah, half the people in the room are the people who inspired you to hate him.
Rebuttals to objections. Objection 1, as a Christian, you should turn the other cheek. Speaking of the other cheek being turned, Third Railify has rated the stream. What's up, guys? Welcome. Hey, click the like button if you're enjoying the show. If you're not enjoying the show, click the self-delete button. Like, the like button is preferable, though. I'm just kidding about that. I don't want anybody to self-delete. Rebuttal. Turning the other cheek is for when you yourself are oppressed. I'm not the person raped in a detention camp. And now I hear the jealousy coming out. I'm not the fisherman executed without trial. I'm not a school kid blown up. Well, he must have had a female teacher. Or a child starved, or a teenage girl abused by the many criminals in this administration. Turning the other cheek when someone else is oppressed is not Christian behavior. It is complicity in the oppressor's crimes. He's actually wrong on this.
Oh, all right. Well, tell me what your Christian does.
Well, Jesus doesn't have a caveat or an exception or a proviso where he's like, actually turn the other cheek, but only if it's just you. Like, if it's someone else, don't turn the other cheek. In fact, when Jesus himself is being grabbed at Gethsemane, and Peter pulls out his sword and strikes the ear off the soldier, right? Jesus says, put your sword away. Those who live by the sword will die by the sword. So he's literally, Jesus is the one being oppressed, and Peter is not turning the other cheek. And Jesus is like, no. You put your sword away. Don't do this. Like, don't. So very incorrect. Okay, here we go. Objection 2. This is not a convenient time for you to do this. This is very inconvenient.
This is terribly inconvenient. You got midterm papers to grade. What does that mean?
This is the smartest guy on the planet.
That's very
I need a rebuttal. I need whoever thinks this way to take a couple minutes. I need you to take a couple and realize that the world isn't about them. Do you think that when I see someone raped or murdered or abused, what videos are you watching, friend? I should walk on by because it would be inconvenient for people who aren't the victim. Where's this guy walking around?
I have no idea what the hell he's talking about.
When you're walking around, Joe, how many, is it easy to avoid the raped, murdered, or abused? Or do you just have to wade through them like a sea?
Well, I've taken the New York subways, so...
Oh, yes. You've seen some shit. This was the best timing and chance of success I could come up with. Objection 3, you didn't get them all. Even in advance, he's predicting his own failure. Rebuttal, got to start somewhere. You don't. Again, this is one of those things that's easy to say. You have to start. You don't actually have to start. There's lots of things that I haven't started. I think you too. Like you haven't landed on the moon.
True. I have never landed on the moon.
Objection 4, as a half black, half white person, you shouldn't be the one doing this. Well, is he the half doing this? And which half?
I don't even, I think he's saying that it's reflecting poorly on white people. I assume that's what he's saying.
Maybe.
For black people, as soon as I heard he was black, I was like, wow.
So I had 2 conservative professors at my law school. One was Persian and the other one was black, which was just amazing how that worked out. And all of the like liberal white professors, they had like a staff meeting or whatever, and they were talking about Obama, and they were talking about like how great he was. And the black guy stands up and he says, was it his white half or his black half that allowed him to succeed in college so well? And like all of the liberal professors are like, shit. Like this is a huge trap. They couldn't tell. They didn't know what to do. Here we go. So, rebuttal. I don't see anyone else picking up the slack. That's the half black, half white thing, which is true. I haven't seen that either. Objection 5, yield unto Caesar what is Caesar's, which that was also about murder, torture, and rape or whatever, and traitorism, I think. So that's comparable. Rebuttal. The United States of America are ruled by the law, but is not by any one or several people. Insofar as representatives and judges do not follow the law, no one is required to yield them anything so unlawfully ordered. That's not true. If you go with that, sovereign citizens find this out all the time. I would also like to extend my appreciation to a great many people, since I will not be likely to be able to talk with them again unless the Secret Service is astoundingly incompetent, which incidentally...
Yeah, they were astoundingly competent. But I like how he's finishing this like he's Robert De Niro at the Emmys. You know, it's like, I want to thank my friends and family. Like, this could have been written by Robert De Niro, right? I mean, it could have been. Thank you to my friends and family. After basically talking about how he's got to, like, you know, kill Trump, he starts talking about, you know, how he wants to thank his family and his wife.
I'd like to thank everybody
in his life.
Could you imagine being Leonardo DiCaprio and having to remember the names of and thank a bunch of 23-year-old women? Like, I think Tiffany and Amber for helping me get here this morning. Thank you to my family, both personal and church, for your love over these 31 years. Thank you to my friends for your companionship over many years. Thank you to my colleagues over many jobs. Only 31. How many have you had? For your positivity and professionalism. Thank you to my students for your enthusiasm and love of learning. Oh, that was sweet. Thank you to the many acquaintances I've met in person and online for short interactions and long-term relationships, for your perspectives and inspiration. Thank you all for everything. That's not specific. Sincerely, Cold Force, Friendly Federal Assassin, Alan. Is that your Fortnite lobby name, you loser?
It was.
I'm Cold Force. P.S. Okay, now that all the sappy stuff is done, what the hell is the Secret Service doing? Sorry, gonna rant a bit here and drop the formal tone. Like I expected, security cameras at every bend, bugged hotel rooms, armed agents every 10 feet, metal detectors out the wazoo. Do you know how expensive that is to set up and take down?
It's almost like he's not living in a fascist state. It's crazy. Bugged hotel rooms? What the hell?
It's like, yeah, they're going to bug every hotel room at the Hilton and then unbug them later. Like,
yeah,
also
that's what they do.
Massive Fourth Amendment violations, as we learned from Robert Kraft, getting hand jobs from Chinese ladies down in Florida.
But we sort of need to like just picture that this means he went around his hotel room looking to see if it was bugged, right? I mean, he went with one of those metal detectors like under the lamps and under his mattress and was like, dee, dee, like that's what how would you know it wasn't bugged?
We also have to assume that he did it competently, right? Just because that guy, like,
well, he is the smartest person ever. So.
Right. But it's kind of funny because it's like, well, I mean, I can't believe they didn't do any of these security things. It's like, well, or the alternative, they did, and they did them because they're professionals and you couldn't find them. Like, that's funny. So here we go. what I got, who knows, maybe they're pranking me, is nothing. No damn security, not in transport, not in the hotel, not in the event. When did he write this? Like, did he write it at?
I guess while he's standing there in the hall.
He gets out his phone. He's like, I ran past everyone. I don't know what to do. Like the one thing that I immediately noticed walking into the hotel is a sense of arrogance. He must have been writing this right before he probably hit send or whatever right before he bolted out of that room.
Yeah.
I walk in with multiple weapons and not a single person there considers the possibility that I could be a threat. The security at the event.
It's almost like it's not a racist country that's assuming every black person is a threat. It's everything he's saying there in this part here is basically explaining just how stupid his entire philosophy is. Oh,
yeah.
God.
Wait a minute. Rosalind says I could spill the beans on Leo, but I'm a lady. You're going to have to DM me on that. I need to know what that means. Let's see. The security at the event is all outside, focused on protesters and current arrivals, because apparently no one thought about what happens if someone checks in the day before. Like, this level of incompetence is insane. You didn't kill anybody. You weren't successful. I don't think you get to say that they were incompetent. I mean, for whatever, like, we were criticizing them, but they did, like, he was stopped.
Yeah.
And I very sincerely hope it's corrected by the time this country gets actually competent leadership again. Well, but see, that's weird because then it would be good for the bad leader, necessarily, the way he worded that. Like, if I was an Iranian agent instead of an American citizen, I could have brought a damn Madus in here and no one would have noticed shit. I don't know if that's true. I don't think that guy could have lifted a Madus. Those are big. Have you ever seen one of those?
No. I don't know.
It's an M2 machine gun. They used to strap them onto the sides of helicopters in Vietnam. Like, he's like, I could have brought a Madus in here. I don't know. I saw your arms. I don't think so. Like, I couldn't. So he says, actually insane. Oh, and if anyone is curious how doing something like this feels, it's awful. I want to throw up. I want to cry for all the things I wanted to do and never will, bitch. For all the people whose trust this betrays, I experience rage thinking about everything this administration has done. Can't really recommend it. Stay in school, kids. Note, a Madus is a Browning M2 50 caliber heavy machine gun, a U.S. military staple for nearly a century, usually tripod mounted. So there you go. So that's his manifesto, which is pretty unimpressive.
Very unimpressive. Very unimpressive. It's a joke. It's really something that shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Anyway, are you planning on going for much longer or?
No, I think it's about time to wrap up the show.
Because I actually came up with an idea that I only thought of right now, and if you're amenable,
well, what's that?
Well, I figured there's got to be at least a couple of people here who, like, they're not going to go find my channel, right? I mean, they're just not going to. But
they should.
If I was to stream this to my audience right now, right, and just leave it running, and because I haven't streamed to the audience, but I click that button there, then you could raid me. And that way they would all be redirected. So like when you close out, and then after they redirected, like 10 minutes later, I'll just shut off the stream.
So I'll redirect people to you.
Yeah.
You'll entertain them for like 10 minutes or so. Say, hey, you should subscribe to me. I'm Base Joe. And you'll really enjoy it. And then.
Well, I'm not going to be able to do that because I'm going to be gone once this. So it'll just be like this. So how would that actually? You wouldn't.
How would you stop the stream?
It would probably stop. Does it stop automatically, or do I have to stop it?
It takes a while.
Oh, so that gives them time to come in.
Like.
I thought it would end right away. It's good that it takes a while, but I can shut it down afterwards, right? I mean, I can just.
It takes a while. Like, okay, the thing I worry about, and this is a legitimate concern,
is that for 6 days it'll just be running.
I'm worried that with people getting hit with inauthentic content, if you have a stream where you're not actually talking for several hours, like, you could get hit for inauthentic. Have you seen that?
All right, I don't know. I'm just going to stream to my audience now. So I'm only going to send it over to.
We can sit and talk for a few minutes. I don't need to go right now. We could talk about whatever. If you give me a second, I'll run to the bathroom real quick and then come back and we can chat about literally anything. I'm good with it.
I'll read you. I'll share some of my manifesto.
Hell yeah, that sounds fun.
All right, cool. So
All right, be right back.
He's going to be back. I'm busy setting. I'm setting the stream up. Call me and Nick for a few minutes, and there you go. It's almost like something is happening here. And yeah, if you enjoy my content, and you maybe never saw me before, maybe you did, maybe you got maybe you used to follow me and you got kicked off courtesy of the scum of YouTube. Maybe that could have happened. I don't know. But in case any of those things happen, so now I'm basically streaming to my own channel. So if you can go on over there and give me a follow, that would be actually really cool. I think it should be live there now. If I go over to my channel and check that out, you're not going to see like a thing. It'll just be me there. Let me see if I can find this thing. Let me see if I can find. Is this going? I'm gonna have to figure out how to end it, which that could be a disaster. That could be, oh my God, oh, it is, look at that. I might as well turn the monetization on, why not? Look at that, me and Nick for a few minutes. Is this actually going? There's my echo. All right, sweet, nice. It worked. Look at this. StreamYard works. StreamYard is good. Why does it say I'm muted? I don't do mostly Yankees content. No, that's not what we do. That is not what we do. No. But I appreciate you coming over for a light Queen of Hearts. That's very kind of you. That's very, very kind of you. Yeah. So anyway, in case you missed it, over the course of this week, I started working on my manifesto. In case that way, I'm good to go if and when the need arises. I'm not going to sit there writing it in the hotel lobby because that's not a good manifesto. And I made sure to write it in proper manifesto tone, where I'm that people can appreciate that. No, this is really a manifesto, and I basically am telling everyone just how messed up the world is and why, because you got to know. You have to know. And I don't know if anyone's ever going to read my manifesto. I guess they would have to be like event zero, which in that circumstance, probably I would not be in a very great position. It's very possible that if and when my manifesto comes to light. But it actually, as I've been working on this manifesto, it actually really reflects the way I feel about things. So in that sense, it almost is like a little psychoanalysis.
I like it. Let's, you want to pull it up? Or?
Yeah.
Or are you just going to read it?
What I'll do is, I'll read you like just one page of it. But the reason, in case you're wondering why we're doing this now, I'll read you the Swiftie section because that's fun.
Nick had to go sell a used car. He's back. That's true. That is what happened.
Man, I thought they needed you to do like a stand-in shot for Better Call Saul. So like,
I get that a lot. I need to watch that show. But do you get this where like people are like, oh, did you watch this lawyer show? And you're like, no, I really don't want to do that most of the time.
Better Call Saul, I think, is a little overrated. It's good. The law element of it is better than in most shows. Most legal shows, it's terrible. The way they handle laws and showing lawyers in back rooms and stuff like that. It's terrible. The writing is terrible. I guess Law and Order was pretty good at it. Law and Order was probably one of the best ones at it.
Oh man, but let me just, when I was taking the bar, I was at because I had to take the bar in the Twin Cities, and I live a couple hours away. It was 2 days, right? So I go home after the first day, and my dad is just sitting my parents lived in the Twin Cities at the time. So my dad's just sitting on his couch, and I go to their house to sleep for the night, and I walk in the door, and I hear, dun, dun, and I collapse into the chair, and I'm like, hey, what's up, Dad? And he's just like, oh, just, watch the TV. And he's sitting on his iPad, probably following sports or whatever. And I sat there for about 5 minutes, and I said, I have to leave. I can't listen. Like, I'm in the middle of the bar exam. I can't listen to this bullshit. I just went downstairs and went to bed. I was like, no, thanks. Ugh. Oh, it was awful.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe it's better if I have AI read it to you. as I'm reading this, I'm like,
do you want me to read it? I'll read it.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good
Either
idea.
way.
I'll share with you in private chat. I'll let you read it in your.
Are you just gonna like copy paste sections into the private chat?
There you go.
Okay, so this is about Swifties,
This part, yeah.
like as in Taylor Swift Swifties.
Just read.
You pathetic, wide-eyed Swifties make me sick to my stomach. That glitter-soaked, demonic witch, Taylor Swift, has been selling you cancer wrapped in bubblegum and sparkles for years. She turned you all into bitter, self-hating robots screaming, "I'm too busy dancing with my girls," while you rot from the inside. Ashley Thompson still defends this garbage, and her little boyfriend, Travis Kelce, is a fag because of Taylor Swift. This entire country is never, ever getting back together.
There you go. There you go. That's my little Swiftie section there.
You're attacking
By the
my
way,
people. You're attacking my people.
By the way, Ashley Thompson is a completely made up name. But I figured that when you're reading my manifesto, I'm going to want you to start researching. Wait, who's Ashley Thompson? I have several made up names. When I asked Grok to add in made up names, every name they gave me was Larry Finkelstein, David Rosenbaum. I was like, Barry Goldfarb. I'm like, why is every name you're giving me Jewish? Tell me. I need to know.
It's like, holy cow, it's the coin shop Olympics over here.
I was yelling at Grok. So
we're going to have Ray Silverstein versus, and they're going to be identifying the value of coins from the era of 1947 to 1956. And they're going to try and do it as fast as possible without using any reference materials.
Well, anyhow.
I like it. I see. I love the anger, the passion, the personal nature of it. Yeah, that's a manifesto right there.
That's you should read it and be like, okay, this person is totally like unhinged, but I could see where his brain is sort of like, where he's trying to get to. But I need to have a little bit more just like rando stuff thrown in the middle, which is why I had the whole Travis Kelce reference there. Like, it's like, but yeah, I did that more with my fantasy football take. But
have you, since obviously you're an expert on pop culture, are you familiar with Sabrina Carpenter?
Who's that?
All I'm going to say is I want you to, this is going to hurt you, but it's because I love you. I need you to go listen to the Sabrina Carpenter song House Tour. Just for me. That's
right
it.
Now?
Anytime.
Okay.
I'll text you so you remember.
Okay.
I'll send you a link.
Okay.
I'll send you a link. I just want you to listen to House Tour by Sabrina Carpenter, and I want your unabashed thoughts. I don't want to influence them. I just want to know what you think about the song.
Do you want me to like listen to my end while you talk to the audience? And is that what you want?
I mean, if you want to do that now, we can. Absolutely.
I mean, I just let me see.
I could read you this JP Morgan stuff here.
I'm gonna be listening to House Tour.
Oh yeah, I could read the chat, this JP Morgan thing. The original lawsuit has been retracted for corrections. So that's one thing to know. Let's see.
What are you giving me here?
I just want you to I want your reaction to the song when once you've listened to it. That's all. I like this one. This is a cool chat. Andrew says, "Nose Pope, miss watching your streams. Honestly, don't think I can come back." I mean, but you're here already, so I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. But you don't have to come back. It's okay. T-Rex Travel says, if the StreamYards doesn't end when Nick hits end, there's a way that in YouTube Studio to go in and force end a stream. That's true. That is possible. Let's see. Gosh, I need to find all of the allegations.
All right, I'm done.
You're done already? What'd you think of it?
Yeah, I made it like 20 seconds. I made it like 40. I made it to the start of the chorus, and I was just like, yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I'm good. This is where the society is literally deconstructing before our eyes. This is so sickening. Oh my God. This is what
that song is great. It says it's not a metaphor. She just wants you to come inside.
I didn't even get to that part of the chorus.
I know you didn't get there. That's what I'm saying. Malkaran 6612 says, was in high school in the late 90s. A recent high school grad asked me what the difference is. I said, we didn't take things so seriously. Racism wasn't important. My friends and I called each other biracial slurs. He was in shock. Now, see, that's kind of weird to me because...
Why would you use biracial instead of just racial slurs?
Did it say biracial?
It said biracial.
Oh, called each other biracial slurs. I got it.
Let's make a joke.
That's a good dad joke. I like that.
Yeah,
that's good. I feel like one of your kids.
Thank you.
No, so this is weird because like around here, nobody cares about racism at all. Like it's the opposite thing to what that guy just said. Like
by around here, I think you mean 2026, like normal people in society.
I mean high schools around here specifically.
No one cares. You think I would give the slightest damn if Nick was white, black, Asian, Hispanic? As long as he's not Indian,
German.
Why would I care?
As long as I'm not Indian?
I'm just saying.
Like bow and arrow or like constantly getting electrocuted? Which
I really
Indian?
mean either.
Why do they get electrocuted so much?
I don't know.
I thought they were all engineers. That's what I heard.
No.
They don't know about electricity, though. Like, that's not good. Charitard91 says, have you heard about Cody getting with DMCA? Heard about Cody getting... I think you mean getting hit with DMCA? No, what happened?
It means Camelot?
Yeah, that's what I would think. No, I was just saying, like, so the high schoolers around here, like, they like say racist stuff, but no one cares. Like, they don't care. Everybody knows that no one's serious about it, right? Like, it feels kind of like the 90s. It feels like what I remember growing up, where it was like, yeah, your friend group is like 8 different races and you make fun of all of them.
Yeah, and that's how you display friendship. It's like if Nick never made a Jew joke at me, I would think he just doesn't really like me.
That's true, honestly. Like, because it's like, well, why aren't you comfortable enough?
Yeah.
To do this.
Why, like if you think I'm going to take it personally, it means you don't feel like we're close enough that I can just like, understand.
And it wouldn't necessarily be disrespectful, but it'd be like the level of respect of someone you don't know at all versus a friend.
Yeah.
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 No.
That's why I started making like self-Jew jokes. Like the second time I ever popped on your channel, I was just like, don't be afraid to like lean in there. That's cool.
I like to tell people that I made 6 million Jew jokes so far, but it's way less, actually. Sorry. Come on.
Yeah, maybe you're a Fed also.
Most likely. Look at these sunglasses.
Everyone's wondering how you got like such a slap on the wrist. This guy's carrying like 6 8-balls in his rectum, and like all of a sudden it's like, oh no, you can walk fine. Here's your law license. You're totally fine.
That's one of the funniest things about my situation to me is people are like, Nigger kid. He's the worst lawyer of all time, blah, 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 blah. And then like, guy got a really good deal.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
All of a sudden, you got Alex Acosta as your prosecutor, and he's just like, "Oh no, let's do better on him than we did for Epstein." Oh my God.
Let's see. I got a couple of these. I gotta mute you for a second again. Apparently there's a plugin for super tips where I can, but I don't have it right now. Drex's unused Baldo says quartering hit Camelot with his second strike for last night's stream, covering him. He can't do any more quartering coverage or he'll get yeeted off of YouTube. Okay, see, God damn it. I was trying to stay out of it. Leave my boy Cody alone.
Yeah. Camelot's cool.
I hope he appeals it. I hope he appeals that. You know what I hate when people are like, "Oh, I got hit with something," and I'm like, "Oh, let me help you." Like word things because I've been through this a lot. You know, I've done this, and I know.
I sent Jim Tells You to you when he came to me and told me that he was demonetized. I felt so inept as an attorney in being able to help him because I was like, I said, if something like this happened to me, I would go to Nick, I might go to Nate, I would go to someone else and say, what do I do with this crap? Because I don't know what to do with it.
And then he like told me, and I was like, okay, I'm at a thing. Like I was at Make-A-Wish, I was at Wish Ball when it happened, and I'm like, but like when I get home, let's look at the rules and we'll figure out how to do this and we'll go after it. And then he's just like, it got denied. And it's like, you didn't wait at all. But he got his thing back, so it was good.
Yeah, thank God.
That inauthentic content stuff is crazy town. Like Aiden Paladin got hit with it. And I don't know if you know Aiden Paladin, but like a bunch of people I've seen for years and years who produce, really thoughtful content. It's like any channel that live streams every day with a person just talking. It's like, how can you call that inauthentic? Like what?
I mean, I guess if you're only reading what's on the screen and you're not adding anything, because I was wondering like why I didn't get hit with it. I was like, I could have been hit with this. Why didn't that happen to me? And then I realized, it's because when I'm covering like a 2-paragraph article, it takes me 45 minutes to get through it. So it's like 90% me. And so I can, but I think it's a stupid reason to take down anyone. I think the whole logic behind it philosophically is just like, why? If people like his voice and they just want to hear him reading to them while they're drifting off, why is that a problem?
Exactly. Or they want to watch like their facial reactions, even if they don't have specific commentary with words. Like there's all sorts of ways to react to content that don't have, that could be nonverbal, that could be really funny. And there's a whole genre of it on TikTok that I hate. It's like these women making their faces do stupid stuff during songs. Have you ever seen this?
No. I was going to say, I mean, this is a platform which has gotten rich from mukbang, for crying out loud.
Yeah, exactly. That's authentic content right there. Like how many burgers can you shove in? Okay, here, let me mute you for just a second, and then I'll do I got 2 super tips to read. Where is it? Here we go.
If in a bunch of brain salt mofos and call me fraud, you say, this dude that the smartest man, they know they dumber than me, and I don't know what month it is. Micropene energy.
The Ronnie O'Neal voice is so good.
Nick, Kablam Blam. I'd like to thank my brothers and sisters who gave me a gun and some ammo. The blowjob discount is still real. Stay in school, kids, and don't do what I did. I want to barf and devolve.
Arian the Vegetarian says, again, you made me give away the fact that I'm STI. Well, I don't think that's what you meant. I'm pretty sure that got cut off. Arian, if you want to go ahead and finish that out, because like, holy shit.
Highly recommend.
Yeah, I don't think
it's not legal advice. It's more just, social courtesy advice. You definitely want to finish that. Finish the thought.
Wait a minute. Boosh says, I saw one. It was kind of cute. She looks like a fun chick. Who are you talking about? This is very important to me. What are we talking about?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know the. Oh, she says the number of Jew jokes. I mean,
Oh, sweet.
I don't know what that. Gotcha. I don't know. Oh my gosh, it's all I've noticed is that okay, here's my question for you because I need to know how that you feel about this. Is YouTube definitively different than it was 2 years ago for you? Like how you do content, how you engage your audience, things you talk about, how you do it. Have you had to change a lot or not? Like, have you noticed? Have you not noticed? Tell me about it.
It's much harder for me to make money these days. Like much hard. Like I work much harder and don't make nearly as much as I did 2 years ago.
Something happened, and I think like I'm going to claim special knowledge, which is a fallacy, and I'm okay with it. Since I was gone from like a lot of that time period, holy shit, it's so different now. It's like, and all the people I know who have done consistent content with consistent audiences for years, suddenly like everything just tanked for everybody at the same time. It's crazy to watch. And like watching the trial streams specifically, like watching the trial streams and how abysmal the numbers are on them for pretty much everybody. And I think some of it has to do with like everybody does it individually now. There's not really big panel shows. But like just in general, you get one or two people who really crush it, and then everybody else, it's like nothing. But during Depp, you'd have the me, Legal Bites, and Emily Baker. But anyone, you could have a channel with 1,000 subscribers.
I made tons of money from Depp, and I was much smaller than any. I joined late. I started like 3 weeks in, a month in, and I still made tons of money from Depp. Depp was a once in a lifetime type of thing. We should never expect to ever see another Johnny Depp trial. With that cataclysm, that was a perfect storm of big name celebrities, juicy gossip, crazy stories growing out of it, that the entire world became captivated by that trial. And it was right at the perfect time. And the fact that it followed up after In-House, where the world had started, the algorithm started recognizing the value of sharing our content over Forbes News or some other channel. So all of this confluence of events played out perfectly for the Depp trial. We will never see that again.
But remember, like there were some really garbage streamers who like they didn't have a channel or whatever. They saw what was going on with Depp, and they're like, "Oh, I'll just like suddenly become a law streamer or whatever," and they'd have like 1,000 or 1,500 subscribers. And they could click live, and 5,000 to 10,000 people would be watching. Every single one of them, all the time. Like there was never a time where you could. Where during the Depp trial, where you clicked live talking about Johnny Depp, that you didn't have 5 to 10 grand watching right there. It's insane that it's not even close. Nothing like that is happening right now. Again, like 1 or 2 channels will get a lot of attention. Emily Baker is really good at. She created a whole environment that does this, and so people go to her. Melanie Little, same sort of story. They get really good numbers. And outside of that, it's like, it doesn't matter that how big these trials are. They'll stream to 50,000, 80,000 people. You click go live, you being like me or anyone I've seen, click go live is like 300.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, where did this go? What happened? YouTube just doesn't distribute the same way. It's nutty.
And that's the thing is, a lot of people will say stream trials. And what you can't appreciate is it's a lot of exhaustion. when you're streaming trials, first and foremost, you can't ignore your regular stream because otherwise people forget that you have your nightly live stream. So you can't cut off your bread and butter forever. So you have to keep doing your nightly stream, and you're sitting there and people feel like, oh, how hard could it be? No, you have to be thinking about what's going on for an additional 8 hours. In addition to the 2 to 3 hours of content you and I are producing, there's an additional 8 hours. So you're working 11 hours. You have to pump the stream. You have to find content for your nightly stream. You have to be pumping out all your different information and clipping and sharing it out and letting people know when you're going live. And then you get up there and all of a sudden they're playing deposition testimony of a cop who's basically describing the outside of a house and the most boring freaking testimony for 2 hours, and you're sitting there feeling like you want to put it's like basically you just want to you just want to just walk away, but you can't walk away. You're trapped in that chair. Everyone at home can walk away, and they do. So you're talking, instead of my regular audience where I'm talking to 500, 700, 900, 1,000, 1,500 people live, you're talking to 150 people for 8 hours listening to the most boring crap in the world until like something juicy happens, and then it's just, so it's very, very painful. And that's why finding an electric trial is a real challenge. And when you commit to a trial, I told everyone I'm watching this trial, I can't just turn it off in the middle. I feel like I'm letting my audience down.
Yeah, and people are like, hey, what happened and stuff like that. And it's and if you're not getting the views, then you have to rely on donations like super chats and stuff like that. But if you're talking to the same 200 people for 8 hours, you can't expect them to keep funding the show for 8 hours, right?
Not.
Like, and it's like if YouTube isn't cycling in fresh viewers who are going to stick around and do that, and you're not getting the overall views that's going to bring in ad revenue, it's brutal. It is brutal. There are so many of the trial streams that I did where it's like, man, I make more on any 2 hour stream than I would make on some of these 8 hour shows.
Yeah. And you feel like, why would I work for 8 hours and make less than I work for 2 hours? Like, what am I getting out of this? And yeah, and if they're not cycling people, the one thing you get out of it is growth, like channel growth. But because you're
sometimes, like I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining about the trials I watched. I know the score, and one of the big things for me was do these trials, show people that you're here, and you'll do trials and stuff like that. Because the better ones are coming. The Afro Man trial is amazing, and I do want to I want to make it a habit to do some of these 3 and 4 day trials like Afro Man, where I can find them, where not everything needs to be a 4 to 7 week thing, and they can be a lot of fun. They can be really interesting and entertaining. Just because if it's a 3-4 day trial, they're hammering through these things. You're not getting bogged down, like you say, with a forensic video review. But it's like, so I'm not complaining about it. But it was like sitting there going, I don't know how this trial economy is going to work. And the crazy thing is, I don't see places like Rumble going, you know what? We'll be a home for people to stream trials. And I think Rumble really could, but they just won't put any law content or whatever. Like, they won't create a law section or a trial section. And the wild thing about that is that's why they first engaged me, they were seeing stuff like Johnny Depp. It's like, guys, just create a front page thing where people who are streaming trials. But I was streaming.
How hard can that be?
It should be easy. I was streaming Corey Richins, and I had 300 people on Rumble, and it was the biggest Corey Richins stream on Rumble. That's nuts.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And how many thousands of followers do you have on Rumble?
170, roughly 160,000.
That's crazy.
160,000, and it's crazy. Somebody wants to watch a trial or two. It's okay. Yeah. I'm waiting. So I got partnered on Kick. I haven't ever streamed over there, but they reached out and they're like, hey, we'll give you partnership. But here's the crazy thing. So Kick uses Stripe for their payouts. And so you have to go through Stripe's system, which is the same as Twitter's. Are you monetized on Twitter?
No.
Okay, so to get monetized on Twitter, you have to present 2 forms of ID, and then you have to take a selfie. And an AI matches your picture to your selfie or your selfie picture to your ID picture.
Yeah.
They won't do it for me. They keep saying that my selfies are fake. And I'm like, I take them shirtless. Sometimes like I wear a shirt. I do my hair different. I'm like, what the fuck? I cannot. They will not verify me. I'm like, who else do you think I am? I'm like talking to the Kick guys. I'm like, they're like, why haven't you streamed yet? I'm like, I want to so bad. Like, because YouTube's like growth algorithm is just not working. So I want to try it on a different platform and see, you know, if stuff can be built over there. And plus like Kick monetizes by view hours. Mm-hmm. As well as donations and stuff. They pay you to stream, and how many people watch you is part of how much you get paid. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I want to try it out and see what it's like. It's like, you just verify me so I can. I can't. I actually went and got my driver's license redone. I'm waiting for it to come in the mail, but I got the picture redone.
Purposefully, just for this. Because
I took it a couple years ago, and my face does look different. Like it does.
Right.
I don't know if that's the problem, but
or if it's personal.
I'm like, I use Stripe for other stuff. Like, you know, like all my locals and Rumble stuff goes through Stripe. So it's like, I've moved plenty of money through their system, and we seem to be okay with each other.
I'm not monetized because I am the least viral person imaginable.
And that's
almost
why
it's almost like
I'm during COVID.
Yeah, maybe. I am literally the least viral. I'm the only streamer that you know. I'm the only streamer you've ever met. Okay, who has 100,000 plus subs, and has never had a video that had 50,000 views.
What?
That's true. It's not possible. I've never had a single video that had 50,000 views.
But
that's not possible.
The way YouTube does so Linus Tech Tips was actually kind of the same. It was a tech show, and just like it ended up having like 10 million subscribers or whatever, but it just built up. He never really went viral on anything, just built steadily over years and years and years. But you do almost exclusively live stream though.
I slog through social media. I feel as if like I must be doing something wrong in my whole approach here, because it's not possible. I mean, people who watch me and come to my channel, you know, I have a really good retention for people who show up and decide that they're ultimately going to sub until YouTube unsubs them. But it's like, you know,
that's always fun.
Yeah, but which there's a steady stream that I'll lose like between 9 and 18 people every single day, which is not possibly organic. It's literally impossible for a different set of 9 to 18 people every day. Side, you know, I'm unsubbing from him today because it's just, you know, if I did something terrible that alienated my base, then they would leave en masse on one day, and that would trickle off, or maybe, you know, explode, but not a steady downward trend. And then I go back up when I cover a trial or something like that. But yeah. I could be covering things. I could be breaking things about what's going on with a Diddy trial that no one else is covering, and it'll get like 14,000 views, and it's just unbelievable. Maybe that's
to show more skin.
Maybe that would explain it.
I'm gonna send you some stuff. I'm gonna send you some information that I think will be helpful for you.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Look, I'll take advice from anyone. Certainly someone who's had the success that you know you were able to attain. But
I think the one thing that I've been hesitant to do, and I think is actually like kind of the real key to a lot of it, is honestly, you got to have a stream channel, and you got to have your short content on a separate channel, like shorts and video on demand, like maybe even 2 separate channels. Like each channel should be hyper focused on what you're doing. So the video on demand, like 10 to 20 minute videos, that should be one channel. And then your like YouTube shorts and reels and stuff should be another channel. And like, it is so irritating to do that because it's like,
I have a second channel. I have a second channel, which has like 4,000 subs, but when I try getting it monetized, they said I was duplicating my content. But you said I can strip all that content down because I only have like 20 videos there, and I could just basically mass delete them all and start it from scratch with my 4,000 subs or 7,000 subs that I have there.
Yeah.
And do it. And it's right now. It was meant for when the Trump trials were going on that I was going to live stream from there.
When did you make it though?
A couple of years ago.
So it might actually, if it's not monetized, it might actually be better to just start a new one because the algorithm has no idea what to do with it. So you get different distribution at the start. We can talk about this off stream sometime.
Yeah,
like,
I don't
really
think people
soon.
care about this. Yeah. So
But there's a lot to it. And like I know, like if I started a new channel, I would probably get more success. But it's like you build something, you don't want to do that.
this is your baby.
Yeah. Yeah, it's old now. It's out of diapers and stuff. It's
Right. This is your unruly teenager who never listens to you.
It'll be 9 years this year.
This is your unruly teenager who hates you, resents you, and is like, "You're not my real dad."
Here we go. Kaufman says, both my buddy and his girl greet me with, hey, fuck you, Ginger Fluff. I would be disappointed and depressed if they didn't at this point. So we have an Irish person. That's nice. Acardi Joe says, if Mike Johnson swears in a congressman or woman in my state of Mississippi, can I sue my state and Congress for violation to the Supreme Court? I have no idea.
Where's in a congressman or woman in my state? Can I sue my state and Congress for violation? What violation of what?
That's the question. I mean, if you are suing your state, I mean, the Supreme Court, I believe, has original jurisdiction over that.
I don't even understand what you would be suing.
But
for.
I'm not following what the lawsuit is for.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. I wish I had a better answer for you.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, anything else?
I think we're good.
Okay, I've got 3 more super tips, and then I think we're gonna call it a night. It's been wonderful. Remember, if you are interested,
see if you can redirect over to me. It's an interesting thing. So
yeah, I mean,
I'll shut my stream afterwards.
If you're, I don't mind sending people over there. It's on you if you get in trouble. Hold on one second.
How would I get in trouble?
Look, I don't know. Don't ask me these questions. Why would I know that? Add a redirect. Search videos from other channels. Good logic. You know what? If it would type, that'd be good. Let's see. Here we go. All right. Okay. Well, I do have to read these 3 super chats.
Yeah, do it.
So,
do that.
So I got to mute you again. Get over it. Get wrecked. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. Arians. You made me laugh. Oh, this one's not read out loud. You made me laugh so loud. P.S. I type out a message. Then when I don't pick a voice and switch to text because it starts off with $3, it limits the characters and cuts off what I initially wrote. I'm very sorry. It's definitely not set up that way to extract more money from you. I didn't do that. Arian says, say that it turned out I was completely right about what I kept saying at the beginning of Corey Richins' Say It. Yeah, you were right about Corey Richins. Yeah, you're so cool being from Utah. They used the wrong 2, but they were saying, oh, wait, hold on. Let me replay that because I didn't have it on.
YouTube has to follow German law, Joe. 2 + 2 if you catch my drift. All kidding aside, it's because you are the base.
Again, they used the wrong version of 2, so he said to based, but it should have been 2 based.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. All right, guys. I'm gonna we're redirecting to Joe after the after everything is done playing.
And I'll text you we'll see if it worked. And then I have to figure out how to close this thing, my own stream down. So
yeah, well, worst case scenario, you can just go to your YouTube studio and you can end the stream there. Like you don't have to do it through StreamYard.
Yeah.
But
cool.
All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me, and Joe, thanks for joining me. It was a blast having a good friend on for the evening. Just J Hip says, stop focusing on my ass, weirdo. So gay. I can't, Just J Hip. You got hip in the name and you want me to stop looking at those sweet, juicy cheeks? Not going to happen. Not going to happen. But everybody also go check out Joe's channel. Check out a video or two. Subscribe to him. He's a great dude. Great content, and I think you'll like it. With that, y'all have a good night. Peace.
Godspeed.
Peace.
Oh, he drinks a fair bit, but you realize that it just helps get his noggin jogging along. With his glass by his side and his kids asleep tight, we'll hear some law-splaining tonight. With his microphone muted, we'll laugh at this boomer until he explains it's all part of the plan. Watch his face become redder as he becomes meta, raging at idiots from Twitterland. From the white shores of Maine to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have now. Oh, his lady is fair, and she handles herself with the grace of one who has borne many children. As the wife of a lawman, she makes sure that he has the time and the place to provide for them there. So pour out an ardbeg, a bow, more of the frog. Spirits flow as the ones who get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the tea post on Twitter as we hear law-splaining tonight. From the white shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have now. Oh, the guests are all plentiful, from Dundee to Drexel. They bring their perspective and spice to the mix. But the reason we're here and the one that we cheer is the one who is showcasing us his career. Get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the tea post on Twitter as we hear law-splaining tonight. From the white shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have.